I'm just going to go over quickly of my list for the upcoming battle report of the Horror versus AlignCorp. So I am going to be playing the Horror. So my list is going to consist of 2 units, or my units will be the Skitters and the Voider. So the reason I picked these 2 to start off with is I really love the Skitters. They're fast moving, they do a lot of damage output. They're okay defensively, and they have a decent amount of health each, 7 health each. If you do lose one, because they are a 2-man unit, they really do drop in potential. But to help defend them and help them get across the board, I brought the Voider. So the Voider has some defensive components, which I'll go over in a second. But they are a really great duo. It does feel like Houndmaster and his Hounds. I really like that combo. One of the great things about the Voider as well is it brings some range to the list with its indirect psionic disruption, which it can do from 0 to 24 inches away. It's indirect, it's penetrating, it doesn't need to see anyone, it can just pop you from wherever. It does only hurt on criticals, which is difficult, but it is worth using. And in melee, it's also a monster, just like the Skitters. But I won't go on about them too long. The one thing you'll find about the Horror is that they're very fast. They move and attack almost instantly. It takes nothing at all for them to move and attack. So this is why the action deck comes into play. So I did not bring a ton of movement cards. So let's go over the kind of... I'm going to do this for what I consider the most simple and kind of easy to explain, and get into the more tricksy and more fun things as we go on. So my first one is 2 copies of Regenerate Biomass. So Regenerate Biomass helps you recover 2 wounds. It's an interrupt, so you can do it either on your turn or on your opponent's turn. It gives you 8 to seize the day, or basically claim the initiative, which is really good. And I just think it's a brilliant card. I mean, any way you can just bump someone back 4 health in one go, or even 2, you can totally undo. When you want to do something aggressive and they kind of counterplay you, you can fully heal. Cosmic Revelation, I'd like to pretend this involves some level of intelligence on my behalf, but realistically, this is an interact action. Now, these guys do not have a lot of interact actions. You really want to be bringing at least 2. Generic, because you want them to stick around, is really good. Because if you want to bring guys back, you've got to sacrifice actions. And especially if you want to bring this very small list, you really want to be bringing people back. You need to make sure you have interact actions available. It does have an awesome ability on it as well, which can be very defensive or aggressive, where you can basically force an opponent to, whenever they target a horror unit, to have to give you basically 3 extra elite die, which is that could be absolutely devastating. So we're going to go into my first unit specific card, which is the Skitters card, which is Rush. So this is one of my only movement kind of orders. It is lets them double move, which gives them 14 inches of movement. Plus, you've got to think you can get a base and then 2 inches ahead. You can basically fly across the board at incredible speed. Have to be careful when doing it because it does leave you exposed. It's got no aggression in it. It is just all about being fast. Next is a really simple one, is a Retaliation. Now, there's a reason I've got a lot of Retaliations in this deck, because the Skitters have an aggressive retaliatory action, and the Voider has a very defensive one, and I want to keep the Voider alive, so I want a good amount of retaliation cards, and you'll see there'll be another retaliation card appearing in this deck again. Once again, this gives me more damage output. It increases the damage I can do, so it can, and also can increase my defense. So if I want to be defensive, it gives me that extra elite die to keep me around. Okay, the next one is really simple. I know there's a lot of inbuilt attacks with these, with my Skitters and with my Voider, because a lot of my actions, my inbuilt basic orders are move and attack. But I also wanted to bring even more attack. Now this is a boom to attack and an extra move, so it just gives me even more aggression. So even though I could have taken extra move cards, I like the capability to use the tendrils on the Voider, or just fire its gun, which is really important sometimes, to pop some shots off, to pick some people off at different ranges. So the last 2 big cards, which are my favourite cards, I'm going to go over Nightmare Strain. So this is a heal card, so you can do a basic heal. You're not going to do that with this card. This card has a much greater purpose. It forces your opponent to discard 3 cards of their choice from their hand. So it's going to just trash 3 orders. You can do this to force turns to basically be, they're going to have to ditch the hand, redraw. You can just make them have to make difficult decisions. If they, for example, have someone who's winded and they need to use order cards, all of a sudden they can't. You could literally kill orders and make them make bad decisions, or what can turn an average turn into a really abysmal turn. And it can be very dangerous. It's a really great card and something that really has to be considered. Also to heal, and really early on, if you're not healing or you're not manipulating it, it's just a really good card you can trash. Cannot rate it more. My final and favourite card that cannot be said enough, and I feel like really sums up this list in general, is Compel. And it's one of the reasons I bring the Void in. So Compel basically says if enemy infantry, now this has to be taken into consideration, so if you're fighting against a lot of Drazzle or a lot of other things like the auto turret, you're going to have problems there because they aren't infantry. But if they are infantry units and they declare an attack within 16, you're going to remember this is a 40mm base, it's only a 3-foot board, well 3x3-foot board. So if you're in the middle, you're nearly reaching both, so basically reaching nearly the entire board if you're in the middle of it. You can force any unit that tries to shoot at you or any of the other targets, so they declare an aggressive action, you can redirect it. So it has to be, so for example, if someone was shooting the skitters, I could react with my Voider, and I could force the unit to either shoot and miss, or I could make them fire at a friend, which is amazing. A part of this order as well is that hit results from any war dice so any war dice used, you have to choose hit results. So they can't just go, I'll put it all into shield or I'll put it on into armor penetration. And also they can't turn those war dice into elite dice either. So it does defend them, but it does help you. And this is just a brief overview, gives you a good look at what I've got. So you can see I've got a lot of aggression, a little bit of object season, and some really good healing and some manipulation to see if I can control the actions of my opponent. I'm really looking forward to giving this a go, and you'll see the power of the horror. Thanks very much.
So today I'm going to be playing with the AlignCorp faction. It's going to be a 12-point game, so the standard sort of size of game. And I'm just going to walk you through some of the models that I've got and what I've taken with them. So I have at 3 points, I've got the Sarge here, who is kind of one single model. He's got quite nice offensive stats, 5-inch movement, 5 endurance. They're very similar to kind of most of the AlignCorp models, and he's equipped with a battle rifle and a combat knife. So he's doing okay. So a quick look at his standing orders. He's got Rise and Shine, which lets him move, and then also he can help remove Winded, and he's got Lean and Mean is his unique trigger, which helps him kind of move some other troops and stuff around. We've got the Scouts here, so these are the 2 models we are using for the Scouts today. So a 4-point unit gets us 2 models. They're equipped with submachine guns and combat knives, so a little bit shorter range, and their unique trigger lets them create a deadly pit in the battlefield, and they have quite a bit of movement as well between their tracking and their hit and run actions and reactions, so again, kind of nice bit of movement. They also have the advanced or special rules, so they can deploy a little bit further outside the deployment zone, which can be quite useful. I'm also going to be running the Marines, so this is my expensive 5-point unit that has these 3 models that we're going to be using to represent them today. So we have 3 models in the unit, and they're carrying battle rifles and combat knives. They're very powerful as a whole unit when they can kind of bring their full force to bear, especially with their standing order advance and fire, which lets them move and shoot their range weapon, gives them a lot of threat range. One of their weaknesses is they really don't like losing a member. When they lose a member from the team, their defenses go down, their offense takes a big hit, even their movement in effect because of the ability to kind of reposition around a leader. So, and if they go down to 1 model, then they're really significantly weaker. But whilst they're running at their full power, they're really good. I will talk about the turret in a second because the auto turret doesn't have a points cost, so I can't actually take the auto turret with me in and of itself, but there is another way to bring it into the game. So I'll talk about the order deck that I've built here. So standard rules for the order deck, I have to have 12 cards in my deck. I have to have 1 of each of the different types of order cards, so the interact for working with objectives, attack for attacking, retaliate for reacting, move for moving, and heal as an interrupt. So I have to have one of each type, and I can have a mixture of up to 2 cards that are specific to each of the different units, and up to as many cards as I like from the faction general list that I've got available. And then individually, certain cards will have a cap of how many instances that card you can have. Usually it's 2. There's a few powerful cards where it's 1, but yeah, usually it's 2. So in this force, where what I've gone with, if we have a quick look through, I've taken March as a generic order to let myself kind of go quickly, move twice double speed for infantry. I've taken On Mission, which lets me possibly get some extra planning and refresh on my cards. I've got Ura, which is a really good general AlignCorp faction ability. That's going to let me remove cards when they start getting built up on units, which is really useful. I've got CQC, which gives me a nice option for quite good close combat if I have to use it. Probably not so much in this game, facing off against the Horror, who are generally really good in melee, but it's nice to have that option. And then I've taken 2 copies of the generic order Take Cover. So Take Cover is nice because it lets me kind of dodge out the way of range attacks. I don't think I'm going to be taking a lot of those, but it also lets me put 2 Retaliate cards, and I can play it for the basic Retaliate order. So that means I've got just a little bit more options to react and retaliate back. In terms of the cards I've taken for the individual units, for the Sarge, I have taken Eyes on Target, which allows me to give one of my other units an order to interact, which can be quite useful for capturing objectives. I've given him double time, which allows him to move and then make another friendly unit move, which can be quite useful for kind of getting around the battlefield. For the Scouts, I've taken Hold Ground, which lets them kind of be immune to forced movement as a reaction. It also gives me another Retaliate card. And Spot Target, which really helps them basically enable another model to attack and give it a bit of a buff to that attack, which again can be quite useful. And lastly, for the Marines, I've taken Day in the Core, which is an interrupt, which lets me kind of bring a model back if one gets destroyed. As I was saying, they really don't like losing models, so Day in the Core kind of helps keep them alive. And I took the Auto Turret card, and basically by taking their Auto Turret card, that lets me bring this into my list. So I've got the Auto Turret available. So that's what I'm going to be playing with today. We've got our forces ready. We've got our cards here. So we're just going to go through the basic game setup. So the very first thing that we do in a game of War Trigger is we're going to determine initiative. So the way that we do that is we take our order cards that we have here, which have all the different orders that we can do with our troops. And we're going to take 2 winded cards from our little winded piles here and put them into our hand. And in secret, we're going to pick 3 cards out of this lot to basically bid for initiative. So I'm going to have a little look through, and I'm going to pick 3 of my cards and lay them out here. And Ross is going to do the same there. And then we're going to reveal them. And you can see, essentially on the top right hand corner, there's a number. So I've got my 2 winded cards, which have 0, so they're not contributing anything towards my initiative. But I've got a number 2 here on my Scouts Hold Ground order. Okay, so it gives me a total score of 2. What have you got there, Russell?
Well, I've done the same. I've got my 2 winded for 0, but I have put in a regenerate biomass for 8.
Okay, so Russell's going to win the initiative. Now, what that means is the winded cards, we'll just go back to our winded piles ready here, but then we're also going to have the card that we did use goes to our discard pile, which means we're not going to have access to that order for a while. So that's one thing to consider when you're picking what you're using for initiative, is you're going to lose access to that order for a little while. But okay, so then we're going to go through setting up the game. So one of the first things that we'll do is we will use our act cards to figure out our scenario that we're going to be playing. So we have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And that's how the scenarios are, come together in War Trigger, is you have these 3 acts. So the first act is going to kind of tell us how we're going to do our setup. Partway through, we'll get the second act, which will tell us how we're going to score our objectives. And then we'll get the third act, which will be a twist, and it'll introduce some new ways of scoring VP. So we're going to make a start with Act 1. So we've shuffled these up, and we're going to have a look and see what we're going to get. So we're going to have a pitched battle. Okay, so this number here tells us it's the Act 1. We're going to tell us we're going to place 2 objectives. There are no special rules. The trigger for the next act, so how we're going to go into Act 2, in this case, it's going to get 3 activations each. It could be destroying a model, it could be approaching an objective, it could be all sorts of things. But in this case, it's just going to be, we're going to get 3 activations each, and then we're going to go into Act 2. And then we've got spots for 4 different deployment zones. We've got these kind of 4 red blocks here. It tells us these are 4 by 4 inch kind of squares in the center of each point on an ideally a 3 foot by 3 foot battlefield, which is what we're playing on today. It also tells us that you want about 10 to 20% of the table covered in terrain. Now, for the setup today, we've gone with a little bit less terrain. Even though this is quite a low terrain Act 1, the pitched battle, we have gone for a little bit less, just for the purpose of the camera, so you can kind of see what we're doing and it's clear what's going on, but probably would have a bit more terrain for providing cover and interacting on climbing over and doing things. So, like I said, this one has 2 objectives for us to place. So we're going to take 2 40mm objective tokens here, and we're going to place them. With it being, with the initiative order being determined, that is the order in which we will get to place them in terms of alternating. So Russell, you'll get to deploy your one first.
Excellent. I'll stick my first one here.
Okay, so I'm going to put my one kind of roughly about here. There are a couple of restrictions that we need to obey here. So we have to stay at least 10 inches away from deployment zones that we're going to be using. You must stay at least 3 inches away from the edges of your battlefield, and at least 4 inches away from each other, which comfortably I think these will be fine for that. Maybe I'll nudge this in a little bit there, but yeah, so these look good. So we've got our 2 objectives. Now, one of the interesting things about water is we know that they're going to be important for scoring. We're going to have to do something with them for scoring, but at the minute we don't know what that is. That's something we'll find out when we get into Act 2. So one of the other things that we set up at the start of the game is we have our weather deck, which can add different weather conditions into the game, change how the scenario plays. So we've shuffled up our weather deck. We're going to have a look at what we've got. Luckily for this one, we've got fair weather, so no special rules from the weather in this one, so we'll make things nice and straightforward. So with that, we're going to do our deployment, and we're going to alternate deploying units each. So we'll start with Russell, if you want to deploy your first unit.
I will deploy my skitters, so I will deploy them 4 inches in that cube, because that cube is in the middle of the board. So that will be roughly here, and I'll put them both just so the back of the base is touching the 4-inch deployment zone. So you can deploy inside, but as long as you are touching the zone, you are within the deployment area.
Yes, that's right. So obviously that's one of the advantages of this kind of setup. If you've got big base models or lots of models, as I have, then you can be sticking them around the outer edge of your deployment zone. So you've got your 2 skitters down. Yep. So I'm going to take my 2 scouts. Now my scouts, they have a special rule called Advancer, which lets them deploy a little bit further in. So I'm going to push that in now. So these guys are going to start maybe over here. One thing to bear in mind with multi-model units is they need to stay within 2 inches of each other. So I'm just going to put them there like that. Okay, and over to you to place yours.
So I will place my Voider. So let me just check this. So it's halfway. So this is 3 foot, so 18's like here. So 2 inches that side. I know that's about there. So I'm just going to touch this side of the cube. Put it there.
Okay, there we go. There's the Voider placed. So then that's all of yours to deploy, so I can deploy the rest of mine. I am going to... the 18's starts. Okay, so it starts back here. And I've got about 4 inches there. Perfect. So I'm going to stick 2 on there. So do like to use some widgets to help us get things placed. I'm going to pop my Sarge right on the edge of this kind of 4-inch area, so he's well out in space. And then we're going to back him up with the Marines. He likes to be close to the Marines. You can give him quite a few buffs and things, so it's good for them to be close together like that. These are all going to be well within their coherency with each other. Now my auto turret has the reserve keyword, which means I don't get to place it into the battlefield just yet. So my auto turret's going to stay over here. Just check. 16. So go there a little bit. Okay, so then we will get to pick our secondary objectives. Now, in terms of selecting secondary objectives, there's a number of different options for these, and these we pick them individually. We will declare to our opponent what they are, and they're just ways for us to score some additional victory points. So I'm going to take the Vengeance Directive secondary objective. What that means is if I destroy a model with a reaction, which we'll see hopefully a little bit later on, I'll score a VP, and I can get a maximum of 3p from that secondary objective. Russell, what are you going to go for your secondary objective?
I am going for the... I need the name.
The strategic plan?
I am going for the strategic plan objective.
Okay, so with the strategic plan objective, basically when you take a planning activation, which we'll see a bit later on, if you do so with an empty hand, you'll score a VP. So it's a little bit easier to score, but you can only score a maximum of 2 VP with that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've got our secondary objectives picked, we've got our objective placed, we've got our forces deployed, we are just about ready to start. So this is the main body of the game in War Trigger, and this is where each of the players will alternate taking activations. During an activation, you can choose to do one of 3 things. You can plan, which helps you kind of get cards back and refresh your troops, which we'll show that when we come to it. You can reinforce, which helps you bring back troops that have been destroyed, although at a cost. You can only do that a limited number of times. Or you will issue orders, and most of the time that's what you're going to be doing on your turns. So Russell won the initiative, so you're going to go first with your first activation.
Excellent. So my first activation is I'm going to use a Skitter-specific order. I am going to use the Skitter's Rush ability, which allows it to move up to twice the unit's movement speed. So I want to put that on my Skitters. And let's get moving. And they are going to move 14. So they measure front to front. So it's going to go there. And then I get to place the second one within 2. So I want to go to... let's run towards our boys like that. There we go. Coming for the Marines.
So that's just going straight away, or issuing the specific order on the Skitters, using their base movement, which you can see from their stat card is 7 inches. But with the rush order, you can move up to twice that movement, which is the 14 inches. And with a multi-model unit like this, you just pick one as the leader, move it the 14 inches, and then you can just place the other models within 2 inches of that leader model, which is what Russell's done here, and brought these Skitters right up very close. So that's the end of Russell's activation, and it's over to me to activate. So for my first activation, I've got a few options here I can take. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use what's called a standing order. So if I look on the back of the sergeant's card here, I've got a standing order. I've got 2. I've got an action and a reaction. In this case, we're going to use the action. And it's called Rise and Shine. And so this says, make a basic move order, then if within 3 inches of another friendly infantry unit, remove a winded card from that unit. Now, I don't mind too much about the second part of that. I don't have any winded cards at the minute. I don't need to remove them, but I would like to be able to do a movement. So I'm going to do Rise and Shine. Now, in order for me to be allowed to do this, I need to discard a card from my hand. So I'm going to discard this Scout Spot Target. So I don't think I'm going to use that for all. So I can pick any card at all. I'm going to discard that from my hand, put it into my discard pile. And then that's going to let me do Rise and Shine. Now the movement of the Sarge is 5 inches. So I'm just going to grab one of my widgets here, and we're going to just move him 4 to there, and then we're going to move him another 1, get him a little bit further. So he's going to run up to meet these guys. So that's my Sarge moved. Now you'll notice that when Russell finished his order, he attached his card that he had used to the stack card in such a way that you could see that it's poking out the top there, which tells you that it was played for the specific order Rush. Now, obviously, I didn't play any card. I just used the standing order, so I discarded the card, but I still need to attach something. So in this case, when you use the standing order, you attach a winded card. So I'm just going to pop a winded card like that on the Sarge now. We'll see why that matters in a little bit. But right now, that's everything I needed to do with the Sarge. That's my activation done. So back over to Russell for his second activation.
So I feel I'm a little in the open there. So I'm going to use, but I'm going to back these guys up instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my Voider forward, but I am going to use the Skitter action card Rush, but instead of using it for its inbuilt innate ability with the Skitters, I'm just going to use it for its generic movement action. And I'm going to use this with the Voider. So this will allow the Voider to just do a base move. So it's got a 7-inch move, so this will allow me just to do my basic move of 7 inches with my Voider. Just to bring up some support to help my Skitters on the field there. And there we go.
Yeah, that's brought forward. And you'll notice what Ross has done there is, because he's used the basic order on the bottom of the card, when he's attached it, he's just poked it out the bottom there, so you can see that it's the basic order that it was used for. Most of the time it doesn't matter. Most of the time you just care about how many cards are attached to a unit, but there are a couple of times when it's useful to know whether it was played for the basic order or the specific order on the card. Okay, so it's back over to me. Now I think my sergeant's got an opportunity to maybe take a shot at these Skitters that have come dangerously close. So I want to do that. I want to issue, in this case, I'm going to do a basic order again, much like Russell has just done. But I'm going to do what the CQC card. Now the CQC card does allow me to do some quite good close combat with my AlignCorp Marines. However, the Skitters are definitely more dangerous in close combat. I'm better with my gun. So I'm just going to play it for my basic attack order here at the bottom. Now, you notice I said before it matters about how many cards are currently attached to the unit. So because I want my sergeant to go again, and he's already got a card attached, in this case a winded card, I'm going to have to discard a card from hand to be allowed to play this card. And in fact, I'd have to discard a card to issue any order, which you might notice that with the standing order, I would have to discard 2 cards if I was going to do that. So I need to discard a card from hand. I'm going to discard this take cover order. Put that there. Which is then going to let me go through an attack sequence. So, important with the attack sequence, I need to declare what weapon I'm using and who I'm going to attack. So, the Sarge here is going to use his battle rifle to take a shot at the Skitter model here. So I'm going to target, well, I'm shooting the unit, but I will check my range to the nearest model. So I've got a 12-inch range on this battle rifle, so I'm well within 6 inches here. So measuring from closest point on my base to the closest point on the Skitter's base, I am well within range to be able to attack with my battle rifle. So let's have a look how we're going to resolve that combat. So there's a couple of stats that are going to come into usage here, and we're going to talk a little bit through kind of how the combat kind of fundamentally works in War Trigger. So in War Trigger, you don't roll the dice, you don't need to draw a card. It's completely under your control as to what the results on your dice are going to be. And we use one of these dice proxy cards here. So this gives us the 3 types of symbol that you can have on your attack. And we're just going to use ordinary d6 to represent kind of how many of each of these symbols we're going to select. So as one of the first steps we do in combat is we can choose to use an enhancement. Now, an enhancement requires us to discard a card from our hand, and it gives us a bonus dice. I'm not going to worry about that for the minute. As the attacker, I have to declare that first. Are you wanting to discard a card for an enhancement?
No, I will not.
Okay. So then we just need to add up how many dice that we get to use. So on my offensive stat, I've got 5 white dice, which are the war dice. So I've got 5 war die and 1 of the red die, which is the elite die. Now what that means is I can pick up to 5 of the war die symbols from this top row, and I can pick up to 1 of the elite die symbols from the second row. I don't have any of the blue tech dice, so I can't pick any symbols from this bottom row with the Sarge. He's not using any super high tech here. One other thing that I'm able to do, and I do have to declare this to my opponent, I can exchange white die for red die, so I can exchange war die for elite die, but I'm not going to do that in this situation. So for your skitters, what do they get in their defence?
So each skitter generates 1 war and 1 elite die, but since I'm a unit of 2, I will get 2 war die in total and 2 elite die in total.
Brilliant. Okay, so you're going to get 2 from that first row of symbols and 2 symbols from the second row. Okay, so what we would do now at this point is we would set those in secret, and we can set them in any combination, right? So I've got 5 dice, five of these symbols at the top here I can pick. So I might try a few different things here. So I'm going to put a little bit there. I could have 3 of one, 1 of one, 1 of another, any combination that adds up to 5. And then I'm also going to get 1 of these. So let's do that. Okay, so I've made my selection.
I have made mine.
Okay, let's reveal and see what we went with. Ah, interesting. So we're going to go through what's called kind of the dice cancellation step. And there's a certain kind of order and procedure to this, which we have a quick reference for in here. But it's pretty straightforward. So you start off by cancelling as many criticals as possible. So I do have 1 critical. Do you have an evade?
I do have an evade.
So you've got 2 evades. So you're going to go down to 1 evade, and I'm going to lose my critical here. So, okay, then we're going to cancel as many armour as possible with armour piercing. So do you have any armour piercing?
I have no armour piercing, but I do have armour.
Okay, so I do have 1 armour piercing. So my armour piercing, I'm going to use that to remove your armour. Mm-hmm. When that happens, whenever your armour protects you whenever your armour gets hit by armour piercing, you gain a winded card.
I'll put that. Just put it
there. Which, as we've seen, then makes it kind of more difficult for you to do things as you're kind of under the hail of gunfight. It hasn't injured you, but it has, given you this winded thing that's going to make it more difficult for you to act in the future. We would then cancel as many shields as possible with nullifies. Neither of us have any shields or nullifies. That's from the tech die on the 3rd row. And then lastly, we cancel as many hits as possible with any evasion, armor, or shield that we have left over. So, have you got any?
I have 1 hit.
You have one hit. So I have an armor, which is going to stop that hit and get rid of it. Now, you might ask, why would the skitters choose a hit in the defensive setup like this? And the reason for that is, if you get a hit through, you can trigger your war trigger for that unit. So even though you're not going to do any damage because you're not necessarily attacking back in this particular situation, although we'll see that you can do, by selecting the hit, you had a chance of triggering the Horror's war trigger, which is Horrify, which would put a winded card on the Sarge. But I thought that might happen, so I still put an armor in. And again, that's why I might put some armor in, even though I know I'm not being attacked back. So I'm not doing it to prevent myself from taking damage. I'm doing it to stop Russell from getting his war trigger off. So with that left, I've got the 3 hits, but you had an evade left that you didn't use, right?
Correct.
So that's going to take me down to 2. So when all's said and done, I'm left with just 2 hits. So if I look at my battle rifle, there's 2 damage numbers. It's 1/2. So the number before the slash is my normal damage. The number after the slash is my critical damage. I didn't get any of my critical hits through. I just got my 2 regular hits through. But we'll notice the battle rifle has the special rule burst 1. So what that means is, once we've resolved everything that we've done there through that symbol cancellation, if there's at least 1 hit got through, and I got 2 through, I get additional hits equal to the burst value of the weapon. So I'm going to go back up to 3 hits coming through. So at the end I've scored 3 hits, which is going to be 3 points of damage with this weapon. So I'm going to allocate 3 wounds, and as the attacker, I choose where I'm going to allocate them. I do have to pick someone. I've got a model I've got line of sight to. So if this rear skitter had been injured, but maybe hiding behind a wall somewhere, I would have to have chosen to allocate them into here. So the positioning of your individual models matters in that way. We're going to place 3 wounds against this particular model here. Now, what's the endurance of the skitters?
The skitters have an endurance of 7.
So I'm a way off destroying a model there, but I have managed to get a little bit of damage through. I stopped myself from taking any additional winded cards from the Horrify, and I managed to get a winded card on you with my armor piercing. So that was a reasonable resolution. Now the other thing is I had 3 hits coming through, which means I can also use my war trigger on the double, which would allow me to move 3 inches if I wanted to. But I think I'm happy with where I am at the minute, so I'm going to stay where I am. So it is optional whether I use that or not, and in this case I'm going to stay where I am. And with that is my action done with, and it's back over to you, Russell.
So my action, what am I going to do? So then I'm going to move. If I'm going to move those guys, I'm going to have to do a lot, because I've used both of them. Right, okay. I'm going to move my skitters. I'm going to do their standing action assault. And I'm going to have to discard a card for the standing order itself. And I'm going to have to discard a card for the 2 cards attached. So that means I'm going to have to discard 3 cards in total. So I am going to discard Impale, avoid a specific card, which we'll deal with later, called Nightmare Strain, and a 3rd card I'm going to discard Cosmic Revelation. And this will put another winded card onto my skitters. And this time I think I am going to... So this allows me to make a basic move, order and make a valid attack. But what I think I'm going to do this time is I'm going to move just towards your objective. I'm going to try and take some cover away from the guns. So I'm going to move this character here. And then, since I chose him to be the leader to make the move, I can place my other within 2 of that And I think I'll place this one. We'll just place him here to give him some cover as well. And he's the one who had the wounds on, so stick the wounds next to him. And that is my next action done.
Okay, so now those skitters that were nicely out in the open, they've now tucked themselves into some cover over here. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my Marines, I think, this time. Now, even though my Sergeant is closer, Sarge has got a couple of cards on him, and as we've just seen, it starts getting quite expensive in terms of discarding cards out of hand. But if I activate my Marines, they don't have any cards on them, so it's going to be less expensive in terms of the cards in my hand to activate them. So just having a little look here, I think I want to do their standing order, advance and fire. So this is a standing order that they have built in, which lets them make a move basic order and then make a valid attack with a ranged weapon. So these guys are back here. I'm going to need to kind of pull them forward in order to be able to get some sight on these guys here. So I am going to, what do I want to discard? It's starting to see, and this is the thing, it starts becoming kind of like, which thing do I want to go without? I'm probably not going to do anything with the Sarge for a little bit, so I'm going to discard Sarge's double time order in order to be able to do the Marines a standing order. So I will have to attach a winded card to them, but they can go ahead now and they can move and then they can attack. So they have a 5-inch movement. I'm going to nominate this guy who's furthest forward as the leader. So I'm going to move him 4 inches first of all. So 4 up to here, and then I'm going to just move him is another inch here. So going to just about get around the corner so as I've got sight on those guys. I'm going to place this guy, this Marine here, so within 2, which is hopefully going to give him quite a bit better sight. And we'll pop this guy in here. So now I'm able to make a valid ranged attack. So again, I need to declare my target and what weapon I'm using. So I'm going to be using my battle rifle on the Marines, and they're going to be attacking this unit of skitters here. Now at this point, what you do, and this would be true at any at any time you do this. At the point where I've declared what I'm going to be doing, Russell, would you like to play a reaction?
No, my reaction, I will do Relentless Claws with the Skitters. So I have 3 cards attached with the Skitters. So if I want to do Relentless Claws, I will need to discard 3 additional actions. So I will discard another Cosmic Revelation. I will discard a Relentless Claws and an Impale, leaving me with 2 cards left. And I will attach that to my Skitters. So this will allow them to play when enemy unit is given an order, make a move basic order, and then make a valid melee attack against that unit, gaining a elite die. So I'm going to make a basic move. I'll choose this to be the primary one to move. So I'm going to, I'm just with you, that's probably close enough. If I can just leap 1 into here. And if you want to carry those wounds over, please, for me.
Yeah.
And then I've got to place the other one within 2. So let's get both of them in. I'll just stick this one. I want it right next to him. It's 2 lovely doggos. Lovely skitters having a fun time.
Okay, so definitely real danger zone going on here. So there's a few things for us to kind of calculate out in terms of this attack. So with an action and a reaction like this, ultimately everything is happening simultaneously. So the Marines were running up, the skitters were running over, the Marines are taking shots as the skitters are kind of jumping out from behind that cover. All of these things are kind of happening all at the same time. So there are certain rules that kind of represent that. For kind of ease of playing out on the tabletop, what we do is we do all of the model movement first, as we have done here, and then we resolve the attacks. But you'll see where they've moved from will become kind of relevant as we kind of go through. So we're going to follow the same process again in terms of building up our dice pools. So again, we have a choice of, do I want to discard a card in order to enhance? So this is looking like a dangerous situation. So this time I am going to discard a card. So just having a look at my options. What do I want to discard? I think I'm going to discard... that's my last retaliate. Maybe I don't want to discard that. Yeah, let's discard this interact I've got on hand. So I've got this on mission card. I'm going to discard that. So that's going to get me a war die straight away. Would you like to discard a card for a bonus dice?
Yes.
Very well.
I will. I'll join in.
So you're going to get a war die ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got 3 Marines here. In order for them to... Now, each one of them can contribute 3 war die towards this pool. But in order for them to do that, they need to have line of sight and range onto the target. Now, at the start of this, these 2 guys would have had line of sight, but this guy would not have. However, because Russell chose to come running in, at some point in their movement, all 3 of the Marines would have had range and line of sight onto them. So what that means is, as long as at some point in the movement that would be true, that model can contribute its dice. So I'm going to get all 9 dice. So that is going to go to take me up to 10, including the bonus dice I had from discarding a card at the start of combat. Now, Russell, you're going to build up your Skitter's dice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an important thing here is, because I'm the attacker, I get to use my attacking stat. Because Russell is the defender, he is forced to use his defensive stat, which is still pretty good on the Skitters, but not as good as their attacking stat.
So, the Skitter's defensive stat is 1 elite die and 1 war die each. So, because I have discarded a card, that gives me basically 3 war, and it would just be 2 elite, but because of my Relentless Claws reaction order, that becomes 3 elite. So I have 3 war and 3 elite.
So that's worth pointing out as well. The stat, your offensive stat or your defensive stat, is per model, but any bonus die are just for the unit as a whole. So as Russell's done there, he's got the 2 elite die, 1 each from each of the Skitters, and the 2 war die, 1 each from each of the Skitters, and then a bonus elite die from the Relentless Claws ability, and a bonus war die from discarding earlier on. So he's in a pretty good place there. It's worth pointing out as well, as the defender, he gets to contribute. If you're taking a defensive action and you're purely defending, you always get to contribute all the dice from all of your models. If you're making an offensive action, you do need to be in range and line of sight, but these guys have, I think, is it 3-inch range with their claws?
That is they have their bone scythes have a 3-inch range.
So at some point his movement is clearly in there. However, I mentioned it mattered that he started in cover. So obviously, as my Marines were running up around here, they're about to open fire on these guys, and then suddenly from behind this cover, these horrifying creatures come leaping out at them. So for the purposes of determining whether or not you have cover, if at any point during the movement of either of the units, during an action and reaction resolution like this, you would have had cover, then you get the benefit of cover. These are kind of, these heavy barrels here are heavy cover, so they're going to give you a bonus additional 2 war dice. You're going to be going up to 5 war die there. So sitting in a pretty good place there, 3 elite die and 5 war die. So I'm excited to get worried for my Marines. Now I do have the choice of converting some of my war die into elite die, as do you. As the attacker, I have to declare first if I'm going to do that. Now, your critical hits are quite nasty.
Yes, they do 3 damage per critical hit.
Ooh. So my Marines only have an endurance of 5, so they really don't want to take too many of those critical hits. So I'm going to set myself... I will trade 3 of these off, so I'm going to go down to 7 white die overall, and that is going to give me 1 elite die. So this gives me a bit of choice there. So I can pick up to 7 war die symbols and up to 1 elite die symbol, and you're sat on 5 war die and 3 elite die. Mm-hmm. Do you want to change any of your war die into elite die?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, so again we're going to go and set options. What is it that we want to do? Maybe I need some extra dice.
Okay.
Okay, you got something locked in?
Yeah, I don't know how good or bad this will be. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah. Haha.
Oh, okay.
some aggression.
Spicy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so now it's important to understand that when we're going back and forth like this, and we're going to cancel some of these symbols out, that the thing that does the cancelling. So, for example, like when the armor piercing cancels the armor, it means that it kind of the armor isn't going to have its effect later in the sequence, but the dice are still there. There are some specific effects, which we'll see, I think, in a second, which will actually change where they are. Most of the time, this doesn't matter, but what it means, for example, is if you had something that triggered off having armor piercing left at the end, even though the armor piercing was used to kind of cancel the armor, which the armor would be gone, the armor wouldn't be available to trigger something at the end, the armor piercing would still be there, even though it was kind of spent to cancel the armor. So, okay, we're going to go through with, we'll resolve my attack first. So we're going to start off with, I don't have any crits, so there's nothing you need to evade. Oh, is your unique trigger?
Yes, I thought we'd throw in a unique trigger.
Okay, so war triggers, there tend to be 1 or 2 that pretty much every model in a faction will have one of those 1 or 2, and they're normally something kind of thematic to the faction. So for the AlignCorp, all of these models have the on the double war trigger, which lets them move a little bit kind of after combat has been resolved. All of the horror have the horrify trigger, which puts winded cards on my guys. They're frightening to kill or to be killed by. But unique triggers are, as they say, they're unique. So every single unit in the game has its own unique trigger that does something special, which can do things kind of out of the normal combat order and do some special things. The way you get your unique triggers is it's one of the symbols on the elite dice. So on the elite dice, you can choose to do your unique trigger, and you might be able to do that multiple times to do different things. You can do critical hits, or you can do evasion. And evasion is a way of defending against critical hits. So what does the unique trigger on? You've picked 3 unique triggers for the
I have
skitters.
indeed. I've gone very deep. So, unique trigger parry. Each unique trigger can remove an opposing dice pool's hit before the start of the normal symbol cancellation. For each opposing hit removed, replace this pool's unique trigger with a hit.
Okay, so you're literally going to slice the bullets out of the air with your bone size and then carve through me instead.
Yep.
So I had 3 hits.
I had 3 unique triggers.
So I'm going to lose all 3 of my hits. These are just going to go. So this is the case where it really does change the dice. It's not just cancelling and scoring. That dice is gone. That would really matter a lot in, say, if we were playing a 3 or a 4 player game. Because if there was a 3rd player who had reacted as well, that's it, those dice would be gone. They wouldn't be sat there in the pool. Whereas if they'd just been stopped by armour, they would still be kind of there to be resolved in the pool with another player. Okay, all right. So again, going through to kind of resolve the rest of my attack, if it's going to have any effect at all. Do you have any armor up?
No.
No, so my armor piercing isn't really going to do anything. And at the end of that, I have no hits and I have no critical hits, so I'm not dealing any damage at all. So then we flip back round and we're going to resolve from your point of view. So you have, is that 7 hits?
Correct, yes.
7 or 8, even 8 hits.
Yeah, because so I had 5 white die because of the cover.
Yeah.
And then I had 3 elite die through a mixture of my natural defense and
your parry.
And the
card.
So really that started off as two white innately. 1 because I discarded a card, 2 because of cover take me to 5 war die.
Which you set all into 5 hits.
Which are all set into 5 hits, and then my 3 elite die became 3 additional hits because of my unique trigger parry.
Okay.
So that takes me to 8 hits, but your armor and evasion will reduce that by 4, leaving me with only 4 successful hits.
So I'm glad I put some into my armor there, and the evade, because you could have put some crits on. The crits can be quite nasty from the skitters. So, but at least it still got rid of one of the hits. So down to 4 hits ultimately. So how much damage are you doing on each hit?
Just one. So just 4 damage. So all your Marines will be alive this day.
Okay, so they only have 5 health each, so 5 endurance, I should say. So it's rough. You had all of them in range, so which one would you like to take the damage?
Let's put it on the one closest to the Voider.
This guy?
Yes, please. That one with his helmet on still.
Okay. Now, here's the other nice thing. So we moved the models. We resolved the combat back and forth. You now get to do any of your war triggers. So now I don't get any war triggers because I didn't get any hits through. 4 horrifies coming through.
So I'll read Horrify just for the people that. So Horrifying basically is a faction-wide rule which will attach winded cards for each successful hit that goes through on... Is there a maximum for that?
Yeah, it's a maximum of 3. So no matter what happens in a combat, some specific special rules get around this, but it caps out at 3. So for example, like had I taken some from armor piercing on my armor, for example, that would have gotten me some earlier, and that would count towards this cap. But as it is, it's enough to put 3 winded on the Marines, which really, I mean, I'm not surprised. I've just had 2 monsters jump out of them and tear one of them to pieces, and their bullets didn't seem to do a thing.
If anything, it only seemed to make them stronger.
Okay, so now with that, I think how are we doing on activations there? Because you went first, and you moved up, you moved to the side, and you moved out your Voider. So those were your 3. I moved my Sergeant, shot with my Sergeant, and I just moved and attacked with the Marines. So we've had 3 each, which you'll remember from our pitched battle sequence here. That means trigger for Act 2 is after each player has had 3 activations. So we've had 3 activations, so we're going to go through Act 2. Okay, so we've completed that action reaction there, which has been our 3 activations. So we're about to go into Act 2, but before I finish my activation, is there anything else you want to play?
Yes, there is. So the card I've been saving, so I can help myself, is a interrupt card, which is a healing interrupt card called Regenerate Biomass. I used it at the beginning. The other copy of this I have as my initiative. I'm going to play this before the turn or your turn resolves to remove up to 2 wounds from 1 unit. So I'm going to take this opportunity to remove 2 wounds from my skitters, and then that discards that card. So this doesn't require me to spend any more. If I'd had multiple interrupts, I could have played multiple interrupts. I couldn't have done it during the combat. I could have done it on this character during the combat, so if my Voider needed healing, but you have to wait till like the resolution of action. So at the resolution of that action, so I could have done it beforehand, maybe to give me the extra wounds, but I was feeling a bit dangerous. So there we go. But that leaves me going into my turn
empty-handed.
Empty-handed.
Which we'll see is a benefit to you. We're going to go into Act 2. So the way that the Act system works is that we have a deck of 10 cards here, which represent Act 2, which is going to tell us what we're going to be doing with our objectives and how we're going to move into Act 3. We would shuffle these up, so we've got these ready, and we will pick them up. I'm going to have to slide them off the edge here. Hold on. And we're going to draw 3 cards off of the top here. And with these 3 cards, the way we resolve this is the person whose turn it is, which is going to be my turn at the point this activates, I get to have a look at these 3 cards and I get to veto one of them. And then Russell will get to veto one of them, and then whichever card is left, that's one we play. So we'll look at them and see which one we think benefits us most with the current position on the board. If we were playing with 4 players, if we were playing with 3 players, we would draw 4 cards. Basically, you draw 1 more card than there are players, and everybody gets a chance to remove one. So we've got 3 cards here, 3 Act 2 cards. We've got Ore Extraction, Data Dumps, and Guard Duty. So Ore Extraction lets us basically capture ore from these objectives, and if we bring it over to our side of the table, and we'll score 2 VP for each bit of ore we manage to get back. That's interesting. And when the first model is destroyed in Act 2, that's what will move us into Act 3. Okay, that's an interesting one. That could be quite good. We've got Data Dumps. So this is a computer objective. So this one is we interact with an objective, which is a special type of order, which we will have some of those in our deck. If we interact with the objective, we will score a VP and it will destroy that objective marker. That could also be an interesting one. When more than half of the objective markers have been destroyed, that's going to trigger Act 2. So basically, once each of those have been done, so it's a maximum kind of 2 VP scoring. There's not a huge amount of VP scoring there, which could be good for me. The other point here is Guard Duty. So this is an asset type objective. So this makes it so the objectives can be destroyed, they can be attacked. So this one, destroying an objective your opponent originally placed is worth 1 VP. Destroying an objective originally placed by you is worth 0 VP. So basically, I would want to protect my one, and I would want to destroy the one that Russell placed. So that would be worth 1 VP. So I think looking at the 3 of those, I think there's not a lot of scoring opportunity in Guard Duty or Data Dumps at the minute. So I think I'm going to eliminate Guard Duty, especially because he's kind of got troops on that side as well. So I'm going to veto Guard Duty. So we're not going to be playing that one. So that leaves Russell with a choice between the maybe high risk, high reward Ore Extraction, where we both would still have quite a lot of opportunity to score points, or maybe with the little bit more controlled Data Dumps option. So which one are you going to ditch?
Well, I think Data Dump is going to be better for me. When you remember how I think we'll get rid of Ore Extraction and go for Data Dump.
Okay, so Ore Extraction is going to go into here, and we'll just pop this on top so we know we've got it here. So now we know basically when the objective markers have been destroyed, then we're going to move into Act 3, and we're going to score 1 VP for each one. Now, at this point, we would also do what's called the tactical shift. Now, that basically gives us some potential additional objectives to try and score, and some additional cards that can help us catch up if we're behind in terms of VP. But at this point, we are equal. Neither of us have scored any VP. I think that's right. Neither of us have scored anything just yet. So that's not going to do anything. So we will just carry on into Act 2. So now we know what the objectives are for. We know how we're going to get into Act 3. I had finished my activation, and it's over to Russell for you to begin your activation.
Right, so I don't have any action cards. So it's going to be difficult for me to do things. So what I'm going to have to do at this point is I'm going to have to plan. So when I plan, I can remove. So when I plan with no cards in hand, though, because of my secondary objective, I will score a victory point. The whole 1 of 2. So I am up by 1 victory point at this point in time. But the main thing is I get to remove 3 cards from any number of my units. So I'm going to remove Rush from the rush that they've already used, and I'm going to remove the Rush that the Skid has used, and I'm going to remove the Relentless Claws. This does leave me with the problem of that my Skidders do have 2 Winded still attached, but it does mean this time round I get to draw all of my action cards back into my hand. Yeah. And these are not secret, just so people know, like I can, that's what I've got, kind of thing.
Nice.
So,
yeah. So, yeah, it's one of the kind of core ideas is that the vast majority of the time you're playing with fully open information. You know, you can ask to look at the cards in your opponent's hand, you can look at the cards they have in their discard pile. The only kind of hidden information in the game is the initiative right at the start, or obviously when you're setting your symbols for attacking and defending. Other than that, it's all open. When you plan, you can choose to plan it for any of your activations. When you do, you have to choose plan if your hand is empty. You can discard 1 to 3 cards before you go ahead and remove up to 3 attached cards from your models. And at the end of that process, if your hand is empty, you then get to pick up your discard pile, which you can then carry on using going forward. So you basically refresh your whole hand. The reason you might do this when you don't have an empty hand is because you've maybe got 1 or 2 cards and they're not really useful, or you've got lots of cards attached and you can't really do anything. So in that case, you'll discard those cards out of hand, remove some cards that are attached, and then you'll get to pick everything up again. And then when your next activation comes around, away you go. The reason you might do it much more rarely is if you have, say, 4 or 5 cards in hand, because you're not, even when you've discarded cards, you're still going to have cards in hand at the end, so you're not going to get to pick those cards up, is when you desperately need to get some cards off of one of your units that's attached, but that's less likely. Either way, that's your plan completed. As I say, you scored a VP from that, thanks to your secondary objective, and then it's back over to me. So, what am I going to do? Now, I know I've been kind of worried about these skitters giving me trouble, but my scouts haven't done anything yet, and they're actually in a pretty good place to maybe do something. But I'm also worried about what's going to happen to my Marines next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an interrupt card. I'm going to play Ura, which lets me remove all attached order cards from this unit, or remove all attached winded cards from this unit. So I'm going to play that on my Marines. So the interrupt will go to the discard, and all of their winded cards get removed. And because it was an interrupt, that didn't take up my activation. It's just something I can do on my turn, or indeed on my opponent's turn. But now my Marines are they're back in the game. Now I know Russell's just picked up his whole deck of cards, so he's got potentially all sorts of nasty things waiting for me in there. So I want to be a little bit careful about what I choose to do next, but I think what I want to do, maybe I want to get the scouts to march, I think, because I think I want to try being a bit sneaky and try. I think this objective is easier for me to get to. I mean, those skitters are fast, but I've now put my Marines back in a position where they can possibly do something about it if the skitters try and run off. So I think I'm going to issue an order to my scouts, and I'm going to give them the march order. So march is a generic faction order for AlignCorp, so any of my units can be issued the march order. and it lets them move up to twice the unit's move speed, but can only be used by infantry. And so I'm going to give that to my scouts. My scouts have a move speed of 5, so they can move 10 inches. I'm going to nominate this character as the leader. Now, one of the nice things here is there's a little bit of scenery here, but this is less than an inch in height. So that's going to let me vault over it. So vaulting will take an inch off of my movement, but it'll let me kind of just get over a little gap like this. Potentially they would be going 10. They're going to go 9 because they're going to be doing the vault. So just measuring front there. I'm going to nominate this leader and pop them basically about there. I can then position the other scout within 2 inches. So I'm going to position them there, which is in good position there. Now, did you want to play a reaction? I should have declared that before I moved, actually, but that's
no, it's okay. I'm not going now.
Yeah.
I've looked. Yeah, I thought.
So nearly always it's safe to do movement. It's always the first thing you do is a move, but strictly I should declare my intention to move here. Give Russell the chance to declare a reaction, and then if I manage to, and then I would still resolve the movement in the same way, apart from a very small number of cards that would kind of prevent my movement.
Yeah. Well, so one of my reactions there were just for edification of everyone, including myself, to be fair. The skitters, can they react when they're in combat? Could I have because I am engaged with someone, so they could have, because there's no restriction of moving in and out of melee range.
That's right. Yeah. So there's no kind of I guess you would call like innate being pinned in combat or anything like that, and there's no penalties to shooting in or out of combat. What it does mean though is that there's a chance that when you try to do something, those models near you might react.
Exactly. But you can't react to a reaction, can you? So that's true.
Correct.
And there's no infinite reaction. Let me just. I'm just going to. Sorry, I'm going to have to be.
Yeah. So that is the end of my activation. So it is
mine.
Yeah.
It's mine. And do you know what it is? We've seen the skitters, who are a star of the show in every aspect. They're really, really cool. But I might want to show the Voider off. Let's have a see if I can do something fun with the Voider. Okay. Oof. Okay, that could be... Right, yes, so I'm going to activate the Voider. And I am going to use the generic attack action, Impale. Yeah.
Okay. Are you playing it for Impale or are you playing for the basic order attack?
Oh, I am playing it for Impale.
Okay.
So make a move basic order and make a valid attack with a melee weapon and gain a war die. So I'm going to put that on top of my Voider. So my Voider gets to make a move. So my Voider, it doesn't flying, it's not got anything, so it has to kind of... I mean, I could kind of go over there and lose an inch. But to be honest with you, the Voider has a 4-inch melee range, so I'm quite happy just to move him to here for now, basically, almost touching the objective himself. And then, but do you want to retaliate? Sorry, I should have offered you that first.
Yeah, no, this is...
So I started about 7 inches away from there. So I started about here.
So... I am frightened of that Voider. It's pretty...
He's very, very big.
Nasty.
So just so everyone knows, the Voider's attack is 2 war die, 2 elite die, and 1 energy die.
It's a tech die.
Tech die, sorry, that's my problem. Tech die. So he has an excellent level of, but also we gain the dex, so it'll be 3, 2, 1 basically. So it's quite strong.
Yeah, and I think his tentacles are quite nasty in terms of damage as well.
2, 3. Yeah. So even the basic is still quite good. And he has the surge in there as well.
So I think what I need to do here, more to frighten you probably than anything else, into maybe hopefully making a mistake. So my scouts already have an order on them, so I'm going to have to discard something to be able to do anything here. So I'm going to discard the Marines' Day in a Core order to be able to issue what is the Take Cover order, but I'm not going to play for the Take Cover reaction. I'm going to play for the Basic Retaliate order.
Mm-hmm.
So the Basic Retaliate just means if an enemy isn't issued an order within 12 inches of me, which...
I was when the initial, even from the beginning, 12
Um,
inches for everyone would have been like all the way near back to my employment.
Yeah. Then I can basically just make a basic attack on you. So all this really means is you have to be worried because I might be doing you some damage back. Now the scouts have the submachine guns. Now submachine guns, they've only got an 8-inch range, but you're going to be well within range of both. They're only damage 1/2, but they're burst 2, which means if I get at least one hit through, I'm getting 2 additional hits. Not loads of damage, but it's a little bit of a thinker for you.
So they have to use their defensive stat though in this reaction. So their is that 1 elite die each?
Yes, so
2 elite die.
2 elite die. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I am going to discard one of these cards.
Would I choose to discard cards first, or would it be
you're the attacker, so you would choose first. But I think you probably guessed.
I guess you were. But I think I might join you though. I think I might do the same because if I don't, this could get. I want to stack the odds very heavily in my favor here. So I'm going to discard one of the Skitter's rush cards. To also gain an additional war die, taking me to 4 war die.
Okay, I'm going to discard my
2 elite and 1 tech die.
Not that one. The other one. I'm going to discard my Sarge Eyes on Target to get me 1 war die. So I've got 1 war die and 2 elite die.
So I could reduce the number of war die I have to increase my elite die. Is that correct? So I could go down by 2.
You've got a special rule, I think, on your tentacles.
I do. It's called Surge.
Yeah, so Surge means when you do that discard, normally you can just discard 1 card to get 1 extra war die. You can discard up to 2 more. So you can discard up to 3 card total with Surge.
Oh, it just feels real greedy. Am I that greedy? That's so greedy. Yeah.
Give me just refill your hand as well.
I'm a greedy guy, so this is very good. Yeah, let's get rid of... So I need to keep interactive cards if I want to destroy the objective. Yeah. And I really don't want your scouts to sneak around and take this, because you could go with them next turn again, pop the objective, and then all of my efforts are for naught. So let's discard another 2 cards. I'm going to discard Impale, and I'm going to discard Nightmare Strain. I'm just saying these, and so Dave also knows what I'm getting rid of. So that takes me to additional 2, so that takes me to 6 war die. That seems wrong. Have I done math bad? 2 normally, and then I gain 3, which takes me to 5, and then plus 1 for the
Impale.
The Impale, correct. So I am at 6 war die, 2 elite die, and 1 tech die.
Okay, so do you want to change... You can exchange 3 war die for an elite die, and you could technically do that twice, so you could get rid of... You could go to 4... elite die, or you could go to 3 elite die and 3 war die, or you can just keep a big heavy weight of war die for slapping.
How much tentacles. Life did these? Is that 6 or 5?
5.
5, right. But you've got to remember, you have.
And for reference, my unique trigger that's on the scouts. Sorry, my unique trigger on the scouts is the one that lets me. Is fire in the hole, so lets me create a pit.
Yes, you can create. Mine is Maddening Whispers. For each unique, after dice are resolved, remove one of your opposing die symbols, but not a critical. This effect can stop opposing triggers from taking effect. So basically, it can almost like nullify a trigger that you're going to make.
Yeah, it's one of the only abilities in the game that can nullify other people's uniques. Normally that can't be done, but that's something special.
That's what I'm thinking. So for the first time ever, we've got a tech die involved. So there's 2 symbols I can pick with tech. I can basically give myself a shield, but I don't believe that stops criticals, does it?
No, it just stops regular hits.
Stops regular hits. But there's also basically the opposite of that. So the tech die is have a shield or nullify shields. Yeah, so it's right, so I have a little shield extra. It's basically an extra either defense die. So you know what it is? I'm going to. Do I really go elite deep? I think we go elite deep. Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice. Is it 3 per elite?
3 per, yeah.
All gone. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to be able to kill them though, but this could be fun. Okay.
This is one of those ones where you're like, should I play the objective or
should
I play for violence?
Do I just kill you or do I not kill you? Yeah, it's a really tough one. I think you're going to play. Oh, see, this is really difficult. But I quite like that as a choice. It's like, am I going to go ludicrously heavy or not? Is the question. I think I've proved before that I'm quite capable of going really quite aggressive. I've been very aggressive today.
Last time I went quite balanced, and it was maybe not the best thing. Maybe
a sensible display of rules. You mean? Yeah. No, I will. Let me have a quick. Make it look like I'm making this decision. Oh yes, Maddening Whispers is a good one. Yeah, but if you get your crit through, so does crit triggers the burst as well effect? Am I correct?
No, it's only the regular hits.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So you just need like 1 armor to stop me from getting the burst through.
Which I've got a tech die.
Yes.
So that's going to kill that almost. That's something you should think about. That's something you should think about.
Practically guaranteed.
Yeah, I know.
But the problem is you've gone all crits. So
have I?
Well, no. I mean, you've gone. Sorry, you're right.
I've gone all elite dice.
Yeah.
No, great. Yeah. And before I was calling them energy. Calm down. So. Okay, now do I want to do that though? Because I think I do. So what I normally do, just for people watching, I normally like take way too many die in, and then you can kind of just like hide them down here or something. And okay, I am ready. I've made my decisions, good or bad. They have been made. Are you ready? Hiya! Oh, this is gonna be brutal. Oh Lord! But one good thing here is if we break it down, where do we start again? Because let's do it properly, so I don't get carried away.
Yeah. So you're the attacker. We're going to resolve yours first. So we start off by saying, do you have any crits on yours?
I do. I have 3.
Can I evade any of them? No, I have no evasion.
This one, Maddening Whispers, for each unique symbol after dice are revealed. So it's literally as soon as dice are revealed, I remove it. I alter it with them.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So
in a way, this interrupts because of its uniqueness.
This interrupts the normal.
I will take one of your criticals away.
Okay, so I'm going to go down to. Or you can't take crits away.
No, I can't. Oh, noodles! I'm such an. It's literally the only thing. I even read that out loud. I guess I take your hit away, which is pointless though because okay.
You didn't know that though.
True.
I could have gone for evade. So
yeah, and I was like,
Nuke that evade. Yeah.
I should have been there. Yeah, that's true. I could have taken the evades away. Okay, but then we just go to my damage first. Well, we can even if we do this in the correct order. My shield's not going to really do anything now because I had to nullify. So we're just down to my criticals affecting before your criticals.
Yeah, and your crits are how much damage each?
So it's 3 each, so this is a total of 9 damage, which is leaving you with 1 life, which means that you do get to resolve your criticals back, though.
Yeah, well, even if you'd wiped me out, I would have got to resolve them back, because this is simultaneous.
Correct, yeah.
So there's a couple of cards that override that rule, but nearly always it gets to go both ways. Yeah. What matters, though, is my unit is still alive.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah. How much life... How much damage do you do to me?
So I am getting 2 crits through, so that's 4 damage on you, which is...
That's still
how much?
not...
What's your 7?
7. So it's still like basically over half health. I mean, half health, you can't do 3.5, so it's as close as we're going to get. And that's the better side of it as well.
So were both of my models in range of your attack?
Yes, I have a whopping 4-inch melee range.
Then tentacles whip out.
Yeah, and so that means I have like nearly... So both of them are within range. Okay. So I will choose to have this chap
be the one that dies.
Bite the dust first, and then we'll leave
this guy with one wound left.
The lady with one wound left, basically. But since it's my turn, I will interrupt, and I will play Regenerate Biomass, and I will play... I think 2 might be enough for now, because the thing is, this is actually really good, because I could play both Regenerate Biomasses. I do have them in my hand. It means I lose the potential for 2 extra orders, which is a big deal, because I can just discard them or as discardable cards. If I heal now, it could put him on full health in a very strong position to survive a lot of the problems that are still coming my way. So do I want to do that now? Yeah, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to use both. I'm going to fully heal him back to full. I could have done that at any point. I could have held off, but I don't want to... I know the damage potential of a lot of things that are coming, so I'm going to play it very, very safe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to play it during that attack, as we mentioned.
At the end of the...
But at the end or before, like at that point, it totally makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Heal up the void. But like you say, you're taking... Because so many things in War Trigger, you are spending cards from your hand, whether that's to make your attacks more powerful, to issue standing orders, all of those sorts of things, you do have to think about kind of every time you spend.
So that leaves me 6 cards in hand.
6 cards. So you're in an okay place there.
Actually, I just realised I've still got Compel, because I haven't showed off Compel yet. That's the one I'm excited about. That's the one I'm really excited about.
Okay, so it's over to me. So I've got 1 card left. That card is Auto Turret. Now, I can't do anything with my Sarge or my Scout because they've got 2 cards attached, which means I would have to be removing cards. I'd have to be discarding cards to be able to give them orders, and I've only got 1 card here. But my Marines are fresh-faced and fancy-free, so they're going to play the Auto Turret order.
You could plan as well, because you could discard that card and then draw, because you can discard up to 3 cards to plan. But, I mean, with your Marines being so free, like, why not drop out the auto turret?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Now, the question is, I have to place it. Now, the auto turret, it can't move once it's been placed. I mean, it can be pushed by force movements, but it can't move itself. It's got 0 inches of movement. So I kind of need to think a little bit about where I want to place it.
How far is it?
It's within 3 inches of any model in the unit. So I think I've got one there. Now, that's pretty wide actually on these guys because I've kind of spread them out a little bit. So I could put it over here. But I think I'm more inclined to put it kind of back here somewhere so that I've got sight of both objectives. Give me some options, so I think I'm going to pop it here.
And now the true Mexican standoff begins.
Yeah. Okay, so, but that is going to attach this onto here. So deploy auto turret. Yeah, that's that.
Ooh, but you have no cards left in hand, correct?
Yeah, which means you can act with impunity.
Okay. And I'm going to take this now while I've got the chance.
So this was the kind of slight risky choice I made there. I could have planned, got rid of that card, filled up my hand again. I'd have had people kind of ready to react, and I'd have a handful of cards to react with. But in doing so, I kind of would have essentially wasted an activation where I could have done something. Mm-hmm. So in this case, I decided the best thing to do was to take advantage of that activation. I may regret that now. We will see.
No, John, I'm going to play it really safe because play to win. You know, so this is normally a what starts. It's when both are destroyed. Am I correct? When we trigger the
So for data dumps, it's when more than half. So that's both of them in this case.
So as I'm thinking, what I do is I want to activate my Voider. I am going to discard Relentless Claws because I would like to play. Actually, when I'm going to do Cosmic Revelation, which is discard Relentless Claws to play Cosmic Revelation. So Cosmic Revelation. So I'm actually going to do Cosmic Revelation just for its interact action. So I can put it that way because I'm not using it for impale. Like I used Impale as it's intended. It is an attack card, but I use it to do its action where with interact, I'm just going to interact with the objective to destroy it.
Yeah, so in this, so in data dumps, interact with an objective to score 1 VP and then destroy that objective marker.
Now, I asked you if you want to retaliate, but obviously you have no cards. But that does give me...
I might want to,
yeah,
but it would be illegal.
so, cheating is a very good way to win games, but it can upset people you play with. So I'm just keeping a little record of my... So there we go. I'm at 1 VP for destroying that, is that correct?
Yeah, 1 VP.
And then 1 for... So this is... My objective is removed.
Yeah.
Or slurped up.
Ooh, I'm 2 VP behind. And unfortunately, or fortunately, look at it, I have no cards in hand, so I have to plan. So I'm going to remove 3 cards, and I can remove any 3, however I want to mix it up.
I think you should leave all retaliate actions away.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a thought. So a couple of things I'm taking into consideration here. I'm removing cards which will make it easier for me to kind of order these units again. But it's also which cards do I want back in my hand. So I do want my March card back because that's going to give me a bit of speed. And then I'm going to need to make a choice. The scouts are in a really rough place, so I think having them kind of available to order, and they're kind of way out of position now as well. So I think I'm not too fussed about that. So then I think I will take the CQC off the Sarge and the turret off the Marine. So that's my 3 cards off. I've picked all order cards. I've left the winded cards on. They're not as kind of... They are annoying, but they're not as useful to remove as getting cards back in my hand. And I do have some other ways of potentially getting rid of them. For example, I could play Ura. I think it's a bit early to play Ura, especially because I know I'm going to face probably some attacks and stuff now. I think that's me done. So, over to you.
Yeah, I'm in a kind of a little bit of a scary position because let's show it off because it's going to happen, and I should. You cannot, because it's going to cost me 3 cards to do anything with them. Oh, I'm actually in a really, really tough spot because I've loaded him up. If I want to do anything, it's to react. It's going to cost me 2 cards to do a reaction from my hand, and then it's going to cost me noodles. This is. You're about to have a turn of unimpeded nonsense, and I don't like it. But maybe I can run my skitters away very, very fast, and hopefully they'll survive. Okay, so let's go for that. So I am going to try and do rush with my skitters. But to do rush with my skitters, I need to discard 2 cards because I'm winded. I am going to have to discard the Voider's Compel, which makes me very sad, and Relentless Claws. It doesn't really matter what I'm left with in my hand, to be honest with you. And I am going to double move away from you. So I'm going to pick... You can react at this point, am I correct?
Yes.
So I mean, I know what's going to happen, and it makes me sad, but I'm going to try and run past the machine gun.
Yeah. Now, because the auto turret basically wasn't kind of in my list, technically I basically got one because of the card I took from the Marines. The auto turret doesn't have any specific cards of its own, but it can receive the faction cards, and it does have a standing order. And it has the standing order reaction 20 meters and closing. When an enemy unit within 12 inches is issued an order, make a valid attack at that unit, which is essentially like it's got a built-in version of retaliate.
Do I do my movement first before you decide if you want to do that? I mean, you can do...
You need to say roughly where you're going.
Oh, I know exactly where I'm going to go, so that's absolutely fine.
And to be honest, nothing I'm going to do is going to stop you from moving. So
yeah, I'm going to move here. So I've got double this movement. But what I'm thinking of is, if I put the wounded one... Actually, what I'm thinking is, I need to be touching this objective with both, because if one of them dies, I'm in a really... I'm going to have to survive a lot longer. So 7 to there, and I'll have to move 7 again. I should have put another thing. Actually, what I can do here is, so I ignore him for a second. 5, 6, 7, another. Sorry, I've been very, but just easier. So he can go about here.
Yeah.
So he's going to heroically run away. And then the lovely fully health one, sorry, there we go, is just going to end. It's going to be within 2, but I want to be touching the objective, so I'm going to put that one there like that.
Yeah, so to be able to interact with the objective, you need to be within an inch, but it's not a bad idea to get in close.
Well, I don't know if you have any ways to displace. I don't think there's anything at the moment, but
I don't think I've got anything in this particular list, but that is a thing that exists in the game, so it's
correct.
It's a risk. So the question is, do I want to react to that? Yes. How do I want to react to it?
So I mean, they were in range of absolutely everyone at this point here, so moving them there doesn't matter. So really everyone but only one reaction can take place.
Yes. So what I think I'm going to react with, and this will show off kind of an interesting thing about the dangers of doing something like rush in this situation. So Russell could have done something that was like a move and an attack maybe, or something that was, had some kind of attack element to it, so that he would be kind of posing a threat to me during his retreat. But because he went for rush to get that maximum move, to try and go for the objective, which is, playing the game, which makes sense, it means if I attack, rather than having the defender dice, I'll get my attacker dice, which are usually better. So I'm going to play on my Marines. I'm going to play the card Take Cover, but I'm going to play it for its Retaliate order. So just a basic Retaliate order. So as long as it was issued within 12, which it definitely was, I can make an attack. So I'm going to be declaring an attack with my Battle Rifle with my Marines. All of them, at some point, they all had line of sight. There would have been a point during your movement where you would have had cover, because with the way
you ran behind them.
You ran behind the cover as you went round here. So you are going to get the benefit of the 2 war die for cover dice. Do I want to discard anything for extra dice? I think I need to try and basically do what you did to my scouts. I need to try and make sure you don't, otherwise you're going to be 3 VP ahead, and you can't have that. So I will discard the Scouts Hold Ground card in order to give myself a bonus war die.
I will discard my final one, Cosmic Revelation, because 2 reasons. 1, I literally can't give anyone any more orders after this, and 2, because it means my next turn, even though I have to plan, at least it's scoring me a VP either way, so I'm kind of going to go a VP ahead in my next turn, and if these survive, it then holds the threat in the turn after that. I could end Act 3, score an additional VP, and then I've got all of my secondaries, and I've got both 2 primaries, and I'm going to be 4 ahead at that point. Yeah, I'll be 4 ahead because it could be quite dangerous. So because I've discarded, so they get 2 war die normally, because of the cover, because I ran past the barrels, and it's heavy cover, I get 2 additional war die. Because I discarded a card, I go to 5 war die, and I have 2 elite die innately, so each skitter brings 1 elite. So that's how we've managed to get here. They are... Oh, I just love the skitters. Okay, so what are we looking at from yourself, though, Dave?
So I get 3 war die for each Marine. All 3 would have been at range at some point.
Yeah,
so I'm going to be on 9 war dice here.
Well, like Dave said, because since I haven't initiated any sort of attack, it's like you're attacking me in my turn unimpeded because I've fled. But it has cost you an action still, so...
Yeah, it still cost me a card. I've discarded another card to get the bonus war die. So I'm at 10 war die. And I think... So I could change some of these into elite. Now, the Marines... unique trigger, Banquet of Rations. For each unique symbol scored, remove up to 1 wound from this unit after symbol cancellation. I could do with healing that guy a little bit, so that is something I could try and do here, but to be honest, I think I just need to try and smash through and destroy.
All a distraction for damage. It's all a lie, because he's going to just... How can I fit 10 into this 1 slot? Yeah. Oh, even though if you saw these cards, it does say there's no limit you could put.
Yeah.
It's just a point. Okay. Shall we?
Let's go.
Let's do this. So, flip.
How many war die do you have there? 5.
5 war die. Yeah. I mean, I could go very defensive. It could end up leaving me heavily winded. Now, if I declare my triggers, so I could declare my hit trigger, and it would let me horrify you, which could be quite tricky here, which could be quite good as well. But also that means I'm not defending myself, so I've got to be very careful if I did do that. This is tough. And I can't parry, can I, at this point? Well, I could parry, which would be interesting. I could parry.
You could.
But it wouldn't do damage to you, but it would give me the war trigger, which would let me horrify you, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So do you have any elite die?
I have no elite die.
You have no elite die. Well. That took you... Oh, you've shoved so many in there, haven't you?
Yeah, see, this is my... I've got to think... I'm less afraid of parry because there's no damage coming back. It is just kind of equivalent to armor. I'd maybe want to go armor piercing just to try and force some horrifies on you to slow you down a little bit.
Winded. Mine's different.
Yeah, true.
I'm special. But yeah, that's the normal way you apply winded is through the armor piercing condition. But my faction ability is horrific. What do I do here? Do I do that? I'm going to make a decision so quicker. I'm going to do... How much damage do you do off a regular hit? Is it 1?
1 damage. They are burst 1, so if at least one hit gets through, they get an additional hit. But it's just 1.
Yeah, so if you got 9 hits through, it would be 10.
Yeah.
For example. Okay. And you have got 10 coming my way, haven't you? This could still be really rough, but it could be this could be a... Yeah, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I'm ready. Reveal. You just went all of them in hits. God dang. Right, okay. So I went very greedy for Horrify here. So since my parry ability comes in first before... for each unique trigger, you can remove opposing dice pools before the start of normal symbol cancellation.
Yep.
So before the start of that, I will turn 2 of your hits into 2 of my hits, taking me to 4 hits. And I only block 3.
You block, and then you just have 3 armor.
Yeah. Well, no, I had 3 armor, so I only...
Armor.
Yeah, so I change 2, and then I block 3,
Okay.
which means I'm taking 6?
Or 5.
5.
Yeah.
Woof! Well, I'll just pick that up.
5, which burst 1 will become 6.
Oh, which does destroy...
Which
does finally take one out. A scream. A noise is made. A vacuum of sound.
So that's... but how much am I getting? 4
Since you choose new armour,
Yeah,
even though I don't hit you, I do
Horrify.
you. But realistically, I should have put 1 more in armour because you could only ever take 3 winded.
Yes.
But I thought you might have taken more armour. I thought
Yeah.
I thought a bit more defensive, but no, I was wrong.
So now, yes, they did kind of churn their battle rifles into that skitter, and he kind of split apart. But clearly, his horrifying death scream did chill them to the bone.
Yeah. Turns out cosmic horrors are horrific.
Which has plonked a bunch of winded on them, which I don't love. But
I suffer no winded either, which makes me happy a little bit.
I took the secondary objective, Vengeance Directive, which means when I destroy a model using a reaction, I get a VP.
So at this point, it's 2 to me and 1 to thee.
Before your turn resolves, I'm going to play the Oorah Interrupt on my Marines.
To remove all the winded. Oorah is so good. Yep. That makes them useful again. But that was, Oh, well, that is my turn done.
Okay, right, now I need to stop that skitter.
Stop, it's like catch the pigeon.
Now, I'm in two minds about this. I think...
This is the most unmolested turn you will have. Yeah.
What have you got in hand?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zip, 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 zip.
Oh yes. Okay.
This is where you have to. This is definitely the turn. This is the turn you commit to death.
All right. So you've got no cards in hand. Yeah, I think it's important that I try and kill the skitter because I don't think I can get to score that objective. At the minute you've got 2 EVP, I've got 1. I want to try and take that skitter out and then put you into a difficult position before I can go and score that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to issue the standing order advance and fire on the Marines. Now I've got a card attached, which means I'm going to have to discard a card. And I'm going to have to discard another card because I'm giving them a standing order. So I'm going to do that.
Standing order of their innate actions on the card.
Yes. With the standing order advance and fire, I can make a move basic order and make a valid attack with a ranged weapon. I'm going to nominate this Marine to be the leader. I'm going to move their 5. So what I'm going to do, like to here. It's ever so slightly awkward with this thing. And then popping forward another inch. We'll pop this guy in here. I do need to be a little bit careful about how close the skitters are. Quite dangerous, but I'm hoping he can't react in a minute. So
no, and so the big thing now is, as you lose models, the unit gets inherently weaker. Because now I only get dice for the number of models in the unit, so now my skitters are only 1 elite and 1 war, which is a big reduction. They really take a hit when they lose a skitter. I mean, same with the Marines though. They really struggle once they start losing. If you can get them down to 1 Marine, they're struggling at that point.
They're not the terrifying threat they are. So I'm going to get winded on me because of string of standard order. And yeah, then we're going to set up. Do I want to discard a card? Right, let me have a think about the maths here. What would you be sitting on?
1 white and 1 red.
I don't think I need the extra white. I think I'd rather have the card in hand. So I am not going to discard a card for a bonus war die.
Yeah.
So this means I am just sitting on 9. The worst you can do to me is horrify. You're on full health, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
How many red did you say you have?
One elite die,
1 elite
which
die.
is the red die,
Yeah.
and 1 white die, which is the war die. I don't know how smart this is. And I can't discard cards for any additional dice. I don't have any cards in hand. And at no point do I have cover because there's no cover. And Reveille. Ooh, yeah, you still kill me because even if we -2, that's still 7, and you do 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why 8? Isn't it 9?
Yeah, it should be 9.
Yeah, silly goose, don't worry.
Sorry.
No, it's alright.
Bad maths. So 9 hits. So you've got your unique trigger, your parry.
Yes.
Which is going to basically turn this into 3 and give you a hit. And you've got an armor.
That doesn't save me, unfortunately, because even if you -2 from your 9, it's still 7. So unfortunately, my skitter will die. But I do throw a winded on you as I go out of the door.
You will do, yeah, from your hit.
Because my
I did. I was
trigger.
like, I'm not risking putting 1 in armor.
Yeah.
I was doing the maths in my head, and I was like, no, because the thing is, 7 is exactly what I need. Now I've got burst 1, so technically this is going to go to 8. So I could have afforded to have had 1 in armor.
Oh yeah, you could have. Yeah.
But I was like, I'm really sure.
Yeah. I know it makes sense. Yeah. Make sure the things. I mean, that probably would have been the sensible one, was be to go like you say.
Like 1 in armor probably would have been sensible.
1 in armor, just to make sure if I did put 1 in hit, it cancels out that effect. But there's the second scare dead. Oh, what does that mean? When they are destroyed, Do I remove all cards from them?
Yes, that's right. So when the whole unit is destroyed, all of their attached cards go to their appropriate discard piles. So I've got these means here. We've just resolved doing that damage. I've killed that skitter off, and now I get to trigger my war trigger. I had 7 symbols that came through successfully, so I can move these guys, this unit, 7 inches. So I'm just going to have a little look here. This is 6 here, which I think is going to be just perfect. I'm going to nominate this guy as the leader and position both of these guys within 2. And I'm going to do a little bit of putting them around just to give me some options in future turns. So now we've got those guys positioned in. Yeah, I think that's me.
So I have to plan.
I'll pick up.
But I planned with an empty hand. So,
You're
like I
scoring,
threatened earlier,
you're scoring a VP one way or the
I
other.
will be scoring a VP one way or another, which takes me to 3 victory points.
Okay. I need to start catching up. But I think I feel like I'm in a good position here.
Yeah, but now I'm back to the full hand and a completely empty unit because my skitters are unfortunately rip.
So you've done your plan, and it's back over to me for my activation. So Sarge has got an order on him at the minute, so I'm going to discard double time from which is a Sarge card, but didn't need to be, just discarding any card to be able to issue for the Winded on him, to be able to issue him the Eyes on Target ability, which says, if a friendly infantry unit within 10 inches of this unit is within 1 inch of an objective, that unit may perform a basic interact order with the objective.
I'm gonna punish you for that.
Okay, you're going to react.
I'm gonna react because you can't shoot. You can't react with a reaction. Don't forget those wounds are on Old Helmet Head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna react with my Voider. So this says, play when an enemy unit is given an order, make a move basic order, and then make a valid melee attack against that unit, gaining an extra elite die. Oof. So I am going to...
It's going to be sad times for the Sarge, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to move into the Sergeant, because it has to be that unit.
Yeah,
it says the unit given the order, and he's the one giving the order, which I quite like. Since you're not playing it on them, I will punish you for that. It's like, oh, you're going to do orders next to this...
Well, they had a stack of Winded on, right? So.
Oh, I knew it would have cut. Yeah. But that's why I'm like, I'll punish you for that. Actually, do I want to get him in? So. I don't need to worry about her. She could sit over there and be safe out of 4 for now. Right, so Sarge. Now you don't have an attack as part of that order.
Correct.
So even though this is your turn, I am now the aggressor and you are now the defender.
Correct. So
this is it's a very small attack. There's nothing special about it. Don't worry. It's just 2 war dice. It would normally be 2 elite dice, but again, additional 1 for Relentless Claws as the reaction order to take me to 3 elite dice and 1 tech dice. What is your defense?
So Sarge's defense is 2 war die.
Very good. I like that a lot.
He can't damage you back. The only outcome I can get from my war trigger is on the double. I do have Lean and Mean as my unique trigger.
How many cards do you have in hand at the minute as well?
I've got a few.
Okay. 4?
4.
4 cards in hand.
He asked for no particular reason.
He asked for the sheer thrill of asking. So the reason I'm asking, because all information is open information, you should always ask your opponent really, why are you asking me that question, or if you know something, which we both do. So the Voider has a interrupt card, which is called Nightmare Strain, which I've mentioned before when I've been discarding cards. So this forces your opponent to discard 3 cards of their choice from their hand. So if Dave did react and it took him down to 1 card in hand, I could make him trash his whole hand, which would make your next turn more effective for picking up, but it basically means your next turn has to be to pick up cards.
So the decision that I was faced with, I could potentially have played the interact order over here to kind of prevent this from happening, but the thing that stopped me from doing that is I've got like 3 cards attached to the Marine, so it would have cost me 3 cards out of hand to do interact. So by having Sarge do it instead with his eyes on target, it stopped me piling anything else onto the Marines. It would let me score the objective and keep my hand a little bit fresher for longer. Now the decision I've got to make here is I could discard a card to get myself an extra war die for Sarge, but I think even if I go 3 armor, I'm still in a real bad way with the way that your stuff is looking there. But I think that's still kind of... I could turn that into an elite die to try and stop a crit on your side, but then it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, that coming through. So I think he does. So I think Sarge is having a bad time, whatever here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not choose to discard any cards for enhancement. You're the attacker, so did you want to...
I will actually. I'm going to use my Surge ability. So I'm going to discard 3 cards. I'm going to put the Sarge into the ground. So I am going to discard 1 interactive card, Cosmic Revelation, Regenerate Biomass, and Relentless Claw. So that's a Retaliate, a Heal, and a Interact to give me 3, taking me to 5 white, 3. So 5 war, 3 elite, and 1 energy. I am committing to Sarge becoming Smudge.
Okay, so let's begin.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a simple one for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do that with a little bit of that. Oh, or do I do that with a little bit of this and a lot of that? I think we do. Let's go check the board. Excellent. So I am going to use my Whispering Madness to take 2 of your armour away from you, and then I'm going to pull Sarge's head off and his arms off and eat him. So just so it's a total of damage. So Whispering Madness is my, as we mentioned before, my unique trigger. Maddening Whispers. For each unique symbol after dice revealed, remove 1 of your opposing die symbols, but not a critical. This can stop opposing triggers from taking effect. So I took away your armour, so you basically, as if you didn't have any armour at all. And then I am going to hit you 5 times normally and 1 critically, so that is 13 damage coming through onto Sarge. I think he has less than 13 toughness.
Yeah, so he has can take 5 wounds before he is knocked out, so he's dead twice over.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, and that is my. I mean, that has left me now with 3, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand. But how many cards do you have in hand? You have done that. That does complete. Yeah. How many cards do you have in hand?
I have 4 cards in hand.
Oh, with you having 4 cards in hand, since you didn't discard, I am gonna not play my Interrupt Nightmare Strain. Mm-hmm. So that means that if you did trash, it would be disadvantageous for you. So you're gonna have to turn to take a poor turn. And I'll pass the turn over to you.
10 a second.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I'm just going to make a quick note because I did get my VP.
You did. Sorry, that's my bad. Yep, you did. You popped the.
And importantly, also.
Oh, go on.
That's going to trigger Act 3.
It is going to trigger Act 3. Yeah, that was a retaliation, wasn't it?
It was. You on my turn. So on my turn, I will get first. So again, it happened on my turn, so I'm going to get first choice of what's going to go on here. So I'm going to get 3 cards coming out here for us to have a look at. Mm. So let's have a look at the kind of the nature of an Act 3 card. So we've got 3 here. We've got Wipe Them Out, Smuggler's Hold, and Jump Signature Detected. So these are all Act 3 cards. Act 3 cards can sometimes be a little bit different. They're often, a little bit of a twist in the game. So we've got this one, which is probably straightforward one. We've got Wipe Them Out. So no new objectives, no new setup. Each player gets 6 more activations, then the game ends. The scoring that this adds in is you score 1 VP for each enemy unit destroyed. So destroying enemy units is now worth 1 victory point. One of the interesting things about the Act 3 cards is they don't stop the Act 2 cards. So if we'd had an Act 1 card, for example, that had placed 3 objectives, and we'd had the same data dumps objective, there would still be 1 objective left somewhere on the table that we would be still able to interact with. And you could score both the Act 2 objective and the Act 3 objective would both be active at the same time. We've got Smuggler's Hold, which is a capture objective. So this would place 3 new objectives using the normal rules as if you were starting the game. The trigger is when all objectives are destroyed. Interacting with a new objective gains you a token, destroys the objective. If you then capture that token, which means bringing it to your deployment edge of the battlefield, then you would earn 3 victory points. So there's a lot. This is potentially adding 9 victory points scoreable in with Smuggler's Hold. So it could be a real big swing. Jump Signature Detective, you place 1 new objective using the normal rules as if you're starting the game. Active player becomes the evac player. The trigger for the end game is each player gets 6 more activations, then the game ends, and the scoring at the end is evac player gains 1 VP for each unit within 3 inches of the new objective at the end of the game. Other units, the other player gains 1 VP for each surviving evac player unit not within 3 inches. So we're trying to hold them back from escaping on the ship that's coming in to rescue them. So looking at these 3, I think given kind of how kind of close things are on the scoring, I don't think I want Smuggler's Hold. It's too much kind of swing. I kind of want to try and eke out another point or 2. I don't want to give you loads of opportunities to score more. So I'm going to take Smuggler's Hold out as the one I get to veto and leave you with a choice between Wipe Them Out or Jump Signature Detected.
Wipe them out. But more murder good is more good for you. So, objectives known, set known, each player gains 6 more activations and the game ends. Score 1 VP for each enemy unit destroyed. Now, I am tempted by that one. Jump Signal Detected, place 1 because I'm the active player, correct?
I'm the active player.
You're the active player, okay.
Because it was on my turn when I did this.
So that means you would need to be the one to evac and I would need to be the one to eliminate you. These are very similar in a sense for me because my key objective would be murder.
Yes. It's just, are we both murdering or am I escaping whilst you're murdering?
See, if I bring anyone back out, it could actually be very dangerous for me. Where if I try and just kill you with the Voider, or as much as you can with the Voider, that could be quite good for me. Where that one forces you to kind of move to a set location and bring models out. Do you know what it is? I'm going to try it. Let's do it. Let's go for Jump Signature Detection. I'm going to discard, wipe them out. Mm-hmm. And you are going to try and abandon the planet as the horror seems to be, infestation is growing.
It's clearly become, we've got the data that we came for.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Now it does require us to place a central objective.
Yes. Right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to walk into the void. That's what we like to see. Yeah.
Okay. I need to get within 3 of that, don't I?
Yeah.
And we've got 6 more activations. When we change over to Act 3, we've got our Jump Signature Detective, we've placed our objective marker, but we're also going to gain a tactical shift. So because I'm on 2 VP and you're on 3,
3 VP.
I get 1 tactical shift card. So
you pick?
No, it's random.
Top one?
It's random, so give me
There you
the
go.
top one, see what I get. So these are kind of special cards to kind of help you catch up. So a couple of things to note about the tactical shift cards is they have any in the basic order slot, so they can be played for any of the 5 basic orders, so attack, move, retaliate, heal, or interact. They also give you a special ability on them, so you can play as an interrupt, in this case for assassinate, immediately after resolving order when an enemy model was destroyed, score 1 VP, then shuffle this card back into the tactical shift deck. So this gives me a couple of options. I can keep this, I've just got an extra card in hand now. I've got I can discard it to pay for all of the things I would normally discard for, but I can also I can play it for any of those basic orders, which kind of helps me out, or I can use it at some point when I destroy an enemy model to get myself that extra VP and help me catch up. So could help me.
I think my turn's very simple because you need to get there and I need to stop you getting there. So my things being alive now is no longer a problem. I am going to reinforce. So basically, now that the skitters are dead, or that bunch of skitters are dead, what I can do is I can remove from the game the skitter card to return the skitters to the field. And everyone can do this. Everything in the game can do this. So, I mean, the turret can't because it's like a summonable piece.
Yeah, so there are no turret cards in my deck to bring it back.
Correct, yeah. So, now redeploying them, they can either go into the deployment zone.
Within 5 inch friendly model. All its models must be deployed legally and more than an inch away from objective markers and enemy models.
Now, can you react to this?
So I cannot react to the reinforce, but you can't do anything with it either.
Yeah.
So
But just so people know, so if I bring them in, the turret just can't go ga 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 and just kill them instantly.
Might do that on my turn.
Correct. Yep. Oh, please do it on your turn. The turret's like, no, it doesn't affect the turret compel. Because the compel word has target enemy infantry, so it doesn't affect the turret, I believe.
Yeah, it's a mechanical. It's not infantry.
So basically, actually, the best thing to kill the Voider is the turret. Ugh, I don't like that. That means that has to die next. Okay, so I think my skit is stepping out of the corner of nowhere. I feel like that's a Lovecraftian reference to stepping out of what's it called when they step out of the corners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so slipping out of a corner come 2 fresh, brand new skitters from wherever they come from, and that is my entire turn. So reinforcing is a whole turn to do that. So that is my action, is to remove a card from the game, which reduces me down to 11 cards, which means I do have less actions for the remainder of the game, but I get my skitters back in the game.
Okay, and then it'll be back over to me.
Yeah.
All right, so you have reinforced, so then it is over to me. Let's have a little look. What do I want to do? I think I need to try and have the turret deal with the Voider. Is the Voider uninjured? Oh, you fully healed it, didn't you, with the regenerate biomass earlier?
It did, yeah. The Voider is a fully functioning Death Star, yeah.
The turret doesn't have anything on it, which is nice.
Do you know what I'll do? Because now I'm scared. I think at the start of your turn, before you can give an order, I will interrupt and I will play Nightmare Strain.
Force me to discard 3.
I want to force you to discard 3 cards because I feel like that turret doing anything, because that might give me a chance to survive or do something.
You got 7 health.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I need to do it. I'm going to have to do some maths, but fine. I will discard 3 cards.
Oh, it's 5 cards you had left, was it? Okay, cool.
Well, because I got the card from...
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, okay.
so
that's still a good thing to do. Okay.
I am then going to play... do I want to do it as the... Am I best at discarding this? Yeah, so as I'm going to do... So I'm going to discard this card to play the standing order tracking and firing on my auto turret, which will put a winded on it, but it is going to shoot at...
How many dice is this?
Just 3 white die.
Ooh, what's its damage?
2. 2, 4.
2, 4, and it's how many? 3 white.
Yeah. I do have a card left to discard potentially, and it is burst 2. So if at least 1 hit gets through, it does 2 additional hits.
Which means it would, if 1 gets through, that could be 6 damage. Oh, that's scary. Okay, so I'm trying to make a decision here because even though I can't react with, so I do have a reaction card which is really good to deal with this, which is called Compel. which might be really fantastic against this. It might leave me very vulnerable. But what I'm thinking is I could use the innate reaction card from my standing orders, which is Psychic Illusion.
Oh, yeah.
So I could play... Can I discard any card because I had to do that one?
Yeah, any card you have to play.
So I will discard... Well, I don't need to interact with that objective. So I already have a card attached, so I need to discard a card because I have a card attached. And then I need to discard another card. We're going to do the Skitter's Rush. I don't think I'll need to be running around. And I'm going to attach a winded card to do reaction Psychic Illusion. So when attacked, swap with a friendly unit within 12 inches of this model, and the attack is resolved against the friendly unit instead. So this is literally a swap as well, isn't it? So I pick a model, so I'm going to pick this model here, because that's a part of it. Because I don't move... Do I move both or just one?
In the swap. So what does it exactly say on the order?
When I attack, swap a friendly unit within 12 of this model, and this attack is resolved against the friendly unit instead.
So if it says swap unit, you swap the whole thing. So for a swap, first put a 30mm token in base to base with a model in unit A.
Is that this one?
Yeah. Either way around, this will work out.
Okay,
so
I'll do this one because they are 30mm bases.
Yeah. Then place that model. Then place that model in base to base contact with unit B.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I will place him. Let's put him here. Yep.
Then place the other one in contact with the token that you left behind. Then if there are any models, then the other one just gets placed within 2 inches as per usual.
Yeah.
Multi-model units.
Oh, the one gets placed within 2 inches.
Yeah. So it's so it's like you choose one to be the leader that you swap with.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, that's brilliant. So, it turns out the dog was the skitters were a voider and the voiders were a skitter and they were all a mess.
The voider was the auto turret was like target acquired, and then it's like
they all merged into one huge horrible blob monster and then unblob monstered. Right, fire at will.
Okay,
well, actually fire at skitters, but just as good.
Now the question here is, as the attacker, I have to decide if I'm going to discard a card or not. First, I am going to not discard my card for the extra. The extra dice is really good here, though. Like 4. What are you going to be sitting on if you don't do anything else?
What am I going to be sitting on as in cards?
Like your war die, elite die, and so on.
Right, so since I've changed to the Skitters, and this is going to be an attack against their defence, the Skitters will have 2 war and 2 elite now, because they're now a full unit of Skitters, which is actually better than the Voider, because the Voider would have been just 2 elite die.
Yeah, so you have 2 war and 2 elite.
So basic 2 war and 2 elite, without any modification.
I mean, you can go pure defensive.
Is this your first action to count down on that? No, is it the one after? No, this is your action. So don't you count just to show the person memory?
Yeah.
5 left. Okay.
Yeah. I have to discard this card to get myself up to 4 war die.
I will do the same. I'm going to discard Impale to give me an extra war die.
Yeah, which means you're sitting on 3 war die and
Yes.
2.
Now, I believe your machine can't become winded, can it? Or does it?
It can be horrified.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
it can be horrified. And you're on war die, is that correct?
4 war die.
4 war die. I'm on 3 war and 2 elite. Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Reveal. Oh, bums. Right, I thought that could happen. Nuggets. No, it's retaliate. Oh, my retaliations are unretaliated. This is awful. So
that parries.
But before I do parry 1,
Yeah.
My
just
other
get rid of
unique
this.
is lost.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that does turn into a hit for you.
It does, yes, sorry. It becomes a hit. And then your armor piercing wins me 3 times.
Yeah.
So I am very winded all of a sudden.
Tiring, getting teleported,
But,
and then
yeah, coming back to life.
through all them bullets.
And then and then you become winded because
Yeah,
I don't attack
do.
you. It just wins you. So it wins you with
So
the horror.
Yeah, you weren't attacking.
Horrifying, sorry.
So it's just the horrifying, which is horrifying enough to even
Oh.
give machines pause for thought.
It
So-
scrambles their systems, tries to even infect them. Okay. Right, this is not good.
But that means over to you. But I am
Unfortunately, I am planning.
Oh, I like that.
Because it seems silly for me not to, because I get to remove 3.
Mhm.
So I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to remove these 2.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm removing 2 winded from my skitters to give them the chance to activate, so they still have 1 winded on them. And I'm going to remove Relentless Claws from my Voider. I'm going to, technically what I would do first, I would discard my entire hand. And then I would do that, because then I get to pick up my entire hand. I do not score any points, because I've scored the maximum number of points for my secondary objective. And also I didn't have an empty hand when I did it, I discarded down. So that's why it wasn't so big a deal for me to discard down this time, because I just can now, and it's just efficient for me. And it means that I've got a full set of cards in hand. My Skitters and my Voider are now both back in the game, if not a little bit slowed down, because they're both down in action. But it's back over to you, which means we go down to 4 turns left. You're going to start coming for this point.
I am. But I'm empty-handed, which means I am basically losing this turn in effect.
Yeah.
So I can. No one discarding it. I need to remove 3. So I'm going to take these ones off, really just to get these. Do I want to do that? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think I do want to do that. And then I take 1 off of the Marines. Yeah. And then I will get to put my hand up. I can still play interrupts, and I am going to play Ura on the auto turret. Can I? Yeah, it doesn't require infantry. So that will get the
Even the machines feels the freedom.
yeah. Well, and the paycheck. That's what they.
Oh yeah.
Freedom of the paycheck. Okay.
True freedom.
Yep. So that's me planned. So it is. I just moved that there, didn't I? It's on 4.
Yeah, it is on 4. Yeah.
It's
Come back to me, and then your next turn will be your 3. Right. So the gun can't move.
Yeah.
But you have got a full hand of cards. So I've got to be careful here, because those Marines, if I get to a point where I've got an empty hand, they will eat me alive. Like, they could pretty much drop nearly, if not drop anyone, at least cut the Skitters in half, at least half health things. And then if I'm not careful, this could go very sideways very fast. So I'm really tempted to do that, actually. It seems weird, but it might be really fun. So I've never done it before. Because you can retaliate with the gun turret now. Okay, we're going to try it. We're going to go for it. Right, so. The Skitters are going to try and use Impale for its standard action, which is make a move order and make a melee attack but gaining a extra war die. But I need to discard a card. Okay, I will discard a copy of Cosmic Revelation to attach the card, because I am winded. Am I within 3 of you already with both of them? Can you check that for me, please, Dave?
certainly. They are both within. Yeah, both.
Yeah, both within 3. I'll leave them there, but it just gives me that extra war die. So at the moment, I'm at 3 war die. Oh, so here we go. Goddamn Marines. Oh no, sorry, it's 6 war die and 2.
Are you attacking the turret? Yeah.
I am attacking the turret, yes.
Okay, so this is an interesting situation.
Oh no.
By the way, not that I've mentioned it already, but pre-measuring is totally allowed in this, so you can measure as much as you like, as you need. Just be sporting with your opponent. Okay, so I'm going to discard a card because the Marines have a card attached in order to play the basic retaliate on them.
And what does that do? It just lets them fire back, I imagine.
Just lets them take a shot. You have to have been issued the order whilst you were within 12 inches of them, which you were.
Yeah.
You're not going to get cover because you didn't move anywhere, and you're more than an inch away from anything that would give you cover. However, I'm not sure that all of them. So this guy at the back here, I think he's probably out of.
What's the range of their
12
guns?
inches. Actually, no, he's probably just about in range of that guy.
Okay.
But that guy he can't see, right? So
Yeah, counting on the height of my model. So models actually do have a height in this. So he's 1.5 high. So basically, that's 2 inches. That's a little bit over 2 inches tall. So that one might be obscured. This one here, but he might be able to see the other one.
Just about to see this. So this one here. So I think.
Does that give me cover then?
It doesn't give you cover, but what it
too far away. Yeah.
What it does mean is, so I think this guy. So the way you do it is you look at the edges of the base and you're trying to see if the edge of the base goes there. So I'm going to say this guy I don't think is going to be able to contribute his dice because both the skitters are fully obscured by this bit of terrain here. These two are okay. This guy has got enough of his base poking out there to catch some of that. He's got plenty of his base poking out here to catch some of here. So these two guys I think can see, but this guy.
It's basically as long as you can draw a point, like a line between any part of each pit being his base. For cover, is that I have to be within a certain range of it to get it?
You need to be within an inch of it, yeah.
So luckily,
and at least part of your base obscured.
Yeah.
So no cover, but it means I'm only going to get 6 dice, not the 9 dice.
Do these block line of sight for him or no?
No models block line of sight to each other ever.
So basically, the voider doesn't block the skitters. The skitters don't block the voider, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah. Now the good thing, the reason I say this is interesting, and this we're going to end up using maybe a second one of these cards. We'll see. This is a 3-way interaction, right? Because we're going to resolve the skitters' attack against the turret, and then we'll resolve the Marines' attack against the skitters. Now, the reason that's good for me here, if I had reacted with the turret, which I could have done, the turret would have been on his defensive stats because
which is one
tech die,
which is terrible.
Terrible, yeah. So he wouldn't have been in a good place to kind of do very much here. If you had been attacking the Marines and I had reacted with the Marines, they would be on their defensive die. But because the skitters are attacking the turret
and the
Marines are reacting to the skitters, the Marines are going to be on their offensive die, so they're going to be in a better position.
So with my dice pool, I now need to think both aggressively and defensively at exactly the same time because I'm going to get shot by 6 war die from the 2 Marines that are involved. So the thing here is, so I've got to use my dice pool both aggressively and defensively because I want to make sure I can take down the turret, but I also want to make sure I don't get absolutely destroyed by the Marines from a unit I've just brought back because I can only bring the skitters back one more time because I've only got one more skitter card, and if I'm wasting my turns bringing things back, it means I'm not attacking you, which means you're getting to the points.
Yeah, and it is like you say, sort of whatever dice you set for the skitters will apply for both your attack on the turret and your defense from the Marines.
So, yeah.
Let's resolve, but it's going to be skitters first. Also, I will see those dice, right? Because we're gonna resolve the turret attack first.
I am going to, just so you know, I'm going to discard a card though to add an extra war die. I'm going to go to 7 war die. Oh, did I do Impale as well? I want to go to 8 war die, so they are 3 war die and 1 elite each normally. So that gives me 6 and 2. But because I've discarded a card and because I'm playing it Impale, it becomes 8 and 2. So that's a lot of war die.
Okay, now the thing is, clearly he's going to have enough war die to destroy the turret here. Like, I can't stop him from doing that. So you might say, why would I bother discarding a card to try and give it a bit more defense? But obviously, I need to try and bait Russell into being more aggressive so that my Marines are in the best possible situation. So I am going to discard a card to get myself an extra war die. So I'm going to use... so I'm going to have one war die and one shield. One tech die, which I can use for a shield or a nullify on my auto turret. So for the auto turret, we're going to go like this. I think. Yeah. So I am ready when you are ready. I think you've got the harder one to figure out.
Yeah. I've got to think cautiously. Do you have any war triggers with the turret?
Turret does have a war trigger, yes.
Okay. Can I ask what it does? Just
normally it would be on the double, but he has shooting gallery, which I think forces you to discard cards.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, do I care about this? Is this something I need to be aware of?
Cover this up while I'm looking it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I'm not looking. Take the glasses off. Team harder.
Yeah. So if this triggers at least once, then the opposing unit's controller must discard one card. So if I get my war trigger off, you discard a card. How many cards have you got in hand?
Quite a few.
Okay, yeah, so
quite a lot.
Enough that it's probably not going to help me hugely.
Yeah. I mean, one is just kind of cute at this point. The problem that I have as well is, do they commit their dice after this or before it?
After, so
so they get to see what I'm doing. So they're going to get the literal jump on these skitters, which is very difficult. Oh, wait a minute. Wait till my brain kicks in, because my brain just... No, that's not one. I don't care about that. I think I've got the best option here. It's going to be painful. It's going to really hurt this, but I am going to come out. They are going to survive. Okay. Oh, no, but then you could change things to crits and just absolutely go hog wild. But
yeah, I mean,
I want this turret dead. No matter what, I want this turret dead. This turret cannot survive this onslaught. This is my problem piece. The rest I can bully, the turret I cannot bully. So I'm ready. Pow. Okay. It's exactly what I thought. It is no fear. So, your armor will reduce my hits by 1, and your shield will reduce my hits by 1, taking my hits to 2.
Yeah.
I crit you twice, and I hit you twice. So that's actually, do I do it to your destruction, or do we proceed past that? So, for example, do I do 3, 6, 7, 8 damage to you?
Yeah, you will do.
Yeah, 8 damage. Do they go away?
The excess wounds don't get allocated if you will enough. But was it 8 wounds total? Yeah.
Yes, if I use all of them, if I exhaust all of my hit die and all of my critical.
Yeah. So
could I keep one though? Because I know I have enough to keep, just to help with them.
Well, they're still going to. You still could keep them in the dice pool, right? They'll still count in when we resolve them.
Yeah, right? It's just yeah. Okay, that's still pretty. But they won't do damage because obviously I'm not attacking them. But they'll be defensive. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still there.
So the turret is going to be basically destroyed.
Well, the turret's got 10 endurance 10. So
3, 6, 7. Oh, I haven't done enough. I'm such a goose. I didn't do my math right. Oh no! What was I doing? Actually, what it is because I thought I had one more ward in my head. I had one more. I'm such a silly Billy. My God, that's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, but this is why it was important for me to discard that card, right?
Yeah,
because I really needed you to force you to.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. So it's done 3, 6, 7, 8 damage to it. It's 8 damage.
Yeah, so it's having a bad day, let's be honest.
Yeah. It's got 2 life left. I'm okay with this.
But now, I can see you've got 4 armor.
Yes, I've got 4 armor. And 2 hits, which could matter if you want to stop the horror triggering on them.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about war triggers in a situation like this is you can trigger the war triggers instead in this one. You couldn't have done it in both.
Yeah.
But it absolutely makes sense for you to do it hit. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm gonna trigger on them. I want the war trigger to be their problem.
Okay, now I've got a little bit of thinking to do, but fortunately it's made a lot easier by the fact I can see what you've got there. Now, so I'm getting 6 war die, which is basically the 3 war die from their offense attribute, which 2 of them are contributing because one guy can't see either of them. But what I'm going to do is I will discard a card to get me to 7, which again I think is going to be key here. Yeah, I'll discard this one. 7 war die. Now, you've got 4 armor. This is a pain. I really could have done with getting to 8 because if I got to 8,
you could have killed me, and then I at least killed one. Yeah.
Crit and push.
6, 7 minus 4, so you've got 3 damage would come through. So that's 3. That would be 4 damage. Which one of them would take 4 damage?
Well, so it would be 3. Yeah, and that would push them up to 4 damage. The other option I've got is I turn it into 2 crits.
And how much damage is that?
2 crits is 4 damage, and the one. This is why I was saying if I'd had 8, I could have gone 1 crit and 5, which would have been 6 damage overall. But this is not gonna. This works out the same either way. So I might as well just go 7 into hit, 4 of which will be stopped by armor, so it'll become 3. Burst 1 will push it up to 4, which is going to deal this gets just 4 damage. Just 4 damage. I have to choose someone that was in line of sight, which I had on both, but I'm going to pick this one.
Okay, 4 damage on him. Would you like to take 2 horror? Get double winded.
I will get double winded, but I will also trigger on the double.
Oh, you're going to move towards me.
Yeah, so I'm going to get 4 inches of movement for these guys.
I've got an interrupt myself I would like to play, but I will do it after you've done your move.
Okay. So I'm going to declare this guy the leader.
On the double.
He's going to go... Hang on. He was there, so he needs to go up to...
Yeah, that's
there.
it. Yeah.
And this guy we will place like over here. With his, carrying his wounds with him, poor fella. And this guy we will place over here. Interrupt before the end of your turn.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of wounded skaters, so we're just going to fix them right up. Right up. So what I've done there is I've used 2 interrupts of regenerate biomass, and we have the skaters are back. It was all a ploy. It was all a trick. The skaters are fine. The arms grew from arms, and legs grew from legs, and a head grew from a finger. And everything was good. But that does mean I only have 6 cards left in hand. How many cards do you have left in hand?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 cards left.
My turn.
You have 8 cards left. I mean, you've got... Can I have a quick look at your discard pile? Sorry, I'm just really curious about something.
Certainly can. Open information.
Open, yeah, because what I'm trying to work out here is for... Okay. I've got an idea here. Right, okay. I am going to play, along with those, I'm going to play Nightmare Strain, because I think you should have 5 cards as well. So the reason I'm doing this is, I might reveal it afterwards. Let's see what you do. No, I'm going to reveal why I'm saying this now, because you might want to bring the Sarge back within range of the objective, which would be a really cool idea to do. It would be very, very good for the Sarge. But what I'm thinking is, you've already got a Sarge card in there, so if you have to keep a Sarge card now, and that means you're discarding down another card in your whole turn, so you're really going to have 4 cards in hand, and you're going to kind of skip a turn as well, so very sneaky. And it means if I want to then try and get rid of this turret again on my turn, I'm not completely pinned by basically getting all these crazy reactions that can go on.
So...
I've got this done there.
3 I've got discard, isn't it?
Yes. Got to discard 3 cards. It's tough, isn't it?
I mean, I don't love it.
No.
Okay, 3 cards discarded. Then over to me, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so down to 3 goes left, 3 activations left.
That's my hand there at the minute.
How I have to get within 3, don't I?
I mean, I think you're already in with him. Yeah, he's already in. So that guy's in. So I don't know if that brings the whole squad in or just that dude. But if that's enough, then
It's each unit, so yeah, that brings him in.
Yep. So they're a problem now. Because you can put. He's got a wound. So really, I need to do a minimum of like 15, 16 wounds to get rid of this whole unit to knock them out. And every turn I spend attacking that stupid turret is just a waste of my time. Because it's like... But if I don't, its counterplay can be so devastating. Because as Dave said, if each one time it hits you, it has bursts. What is it?
2.
Burst 2. So one successful hit
It's 6
does
damage.
6 damage, which is just so much. And it's not because it kills you, it's just because it takes pieces away from, reacting and scoring and doing things. Also, even if I put a load into shield and you just winded me, like 3 winded on a unit is, especially since I don't have cards like Ura to remove like the winded condition. I do have a sneaky alternative option which I haven't really used this game, which is the Voider has a reaction where the Voider can use psychic. Its grand plan, which I never really got to use, is it gets to make a move basic order, and if it's within one of an objective, it can remove 2 attached cards from a friendly unit. So I do have something similar, but it's not as effective as just interrupt, Ura, remove 3 winded.
So, I'm going to use the Scout's Spot Target ability.
Okay.
So Spot Target says, another friendly unit may make a valid range attack against an enemy that this unit has line of sight to. The friendly unit weapon gains penetrating and indirect rules with attack and gains 1 war die. Now, penetrating and indirect don't mean very much here because they basically, penetrate means you ignore cover, indirect means you ignore line of sight. So you can ignore cover and line of sight, but I'm going to be telling the turret to attack the Voider. Now, the Voider, the turret has line of sight, it's fine, but this does give it a free extra war die, which is really what I want here.
And the reason that Dave's done this as well is because I can't compel this. So I can't make... So one of the big cards that the Voider has is Compel, which means that it makes a friendly unit shoots a friendly unit, but the only unit I can't affect is the stupid turret. So I have to choose my retaliation wisely here. But the turret only has... It can do 6 damage so easily. If it gets... how many dice does the turret get? How many war die does it get now?
It gets 3 war die base. It's going to go up to 4 because of the spot target.
This could cost me so many cards. Because I could do the Voider's reaction. So I could discard Impale to then discard another card. I think I'll get rid of Cosmic Revelations, even though it feels extra cheeky and fun. No, I'm going to keep Cosmic Revelations. I feel like I might punish you with that in a second. I will get rid of another Relentless Claws. So that's because I'm winded once on my Voider. So that's actually another winded card on my Voider to do its reaction way. Basically do the big switcheroo, which is simple. I get a 30mm marker. I place it next to my Voider. The Voider then teleports to another unit. And then that unit then teleports.
I was going to say, you can sort of set them up to be like...
Yeah, hello
blocking
little
the Marines,
humans.
can't you?
Yeah, hello humans. Could you slide me my my
You're the
to the skitter? Yeah, let's go for this guy. Come here, you scamp. Right, cool. That is my reaction. So now you're shooting the skitters, which just means slightly better defense die, because the skitters are that. The skitters get 2 white and 2 red.
Okay, so...
So 2 war and 2 elite.
I am attacking, so I will get to...
You have to choose if you want to discard a card first, yeah.
Choose one, discard a card first. Okay, so I am going to discard...
on mission to get myself up to 5 white die.
Go away! Fine, I will discard a card and go up to 3. So the reason I'm doing this is because you know as well as I know, if this goes through, it's just 6 straight damage, which means that like I'm going to just lose a skitter in a breath. And even though I can heal, I can't bring skitters back to life, and all of my Healy cards are in there right now, so yeah. Okay.
And what are you saying on?
I'm 3 and 2. I'm 3 and 2
and
now.
2.
So I can match your 5. I can match your 5.
Yeah, you kind of got no reason not to, right?
Yeah, so you could go for the cheeky wind now as a possible option. I don't know what your unique is with that. Yeah.
So my unique is multiple targets detected. Each unique scored after symbol cancellation, but before resolving burst, increase the chosen weapon's burst value by 1. Which means if I was convinced I was going to get a hit through.
Yeah. Like, if you were shooting a single skitter, that would just be like, right, let's just turn the skitter inside out.
As it is, I need
Even the Voider by itself, it only gets 2 red. Like, it can trade it for 1 white, but that could still potentially get real ugly real fast.
You discard in enhanced to get 1 white, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because you can trade whites for reds, but you can't trade reds for whites.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to have a little bit of a think here, because if I go all in,
Yeeting dice everywhere, sorry.
the odds are you're just gonna you can stop all of it.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I could go to evade, but you've got no elite dice, right?
Yeah. I mean, the logical thing for me to do would be to go into armor piercing, right? So you can safely not put any armor on.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not just gonna rack everything in the air with the thought that's what you're gonna do.
I mean, you don't want those winded cards, right? So just safely put them in the hit, put the Horrify over to me.
Okay, are you ready? Let's see how winded I become, or how dead I become. Here we go. Oh, you did do it. Okay. Well, the fun thing is, I'm going to turn 2 of your hits into 2 of my hits.
Yeah. So that gets rid of them.
But then I do
That's
become.
your parry
I do become.
Yeah. So
winded.
3 armor piercing. It's going to give you 3 winded.
You can't risk the.
I was going to say, I tried the double bluff, but I was like, no, because it would have been
What, like if you get like 2 shots through, that's like what, like it's like 6 damage basic plus. Well, no, so it's
two shots would have become 4 shots at 2 damage, so 8 damage.
Yeah, and that just. I mean, even if you got so they're 14 life. So if you got like 3 through, for example. That's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It'd be 5, so it'd be 10 damage.
Yeah, and that's just okay. So they would have one of them would have survived, but with like a breath of health, 4 life left.
You got 2 Horrifies on.
Yeah, so I do get to wind you up. I mean, maybe you could have taken the risk and just blown it up, and
none of my hits went through, which was what I expected.
Yeah, but it's going to get harder and harder to give that stupid turret order to. Maybe I should have just lost it. No, because I wouldn't have been able to hurt you. I'm not doing a melee attack. That's not how this works.
Yeah, because you teleported to swap with the Voider, yeah. So
right. My turn, eh?
Yeah, your turn.
Well, I mean, this gets... I think I have to plan. I know what I want to do, but I literally can't do it. I think I have to plan. I think I really have to plan. I really want to use Cosmic Revelation on that goddamn turret. Have you got no cards in hand?
No, I've got...
You got 3, haven't you?
3, yeah.
I really want a Cosmic Revelation on that turret, just to see it be like, okay, if you ever shoot anything, you gotta get 3 red dice against you. But I'm not going to. I'm going to discard. I'm going to go to my plan. I'm going to take 2... I'm going to take 1 winded off the Voider. I'm going to take an Impale off these to give that back to my hand. And I'm going to take a winded off the Skitter. Gosh, that's doesn't feel like the skitter feel like they're. If I want to do anything with them, it's a commitment now. But they still have the chance where, and then I get to draw back up, which doesn't score me any VP, but it does give me my cards back in hand. So I should be up to the lovely 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. There we go.
Over to me, so we're down to 2 turns remaining.
Yeah. What would you like to do this turn? Can I look at your discard pile? Have you thrown away the Sarge card or not? Well, I can look at your hand, really. Yeah. It's honestly, yeah. It's like, no,
No, I have not.
Yeah.
So kind of, I really need to bring Sarge back at some point. I'd like to do it as late in the game as possible.
So I can't get him.
So you can't get him.
Can't get him.
But basically, I've got this activation and one more. So it's either this activation or next activation.
Well, the question is, are you like if you bring him back this activation, then the next one you either have to plan or do something. So you can either do something with Sarge or plan. But then the problem that I'm going to have is I want to kill something because I'm in a really bad position right now. I need something to die no matter what, basically. Because don't I score points for killing things now? Don't I get points for murder?
What's the...
Each evac player gains 1 VP for each unit within 3 of the objective at the end of the game. And I gain 3 for each one. For each one not, I gain 1. So I need to make sure that you...
So I feel like we might be leaving the scout behind.
Yeah. The scout. I'm gonna snap that scout's neck. I think is the or turn around like whatever cosmic nightmarish thing. Turn into a shoe. I don't know why I imagine cosmic horrors turn people into shoes, but that's what I imagine they do.
I mean, who knows?
Who knows what evil deeds they plan.
See, ideally I would have liked to advance a fire with the Marines, but they've got like 4 cards on them, so they really can't do very much.
And your Ura's in there, isn't it?
And my Ura is in there.
You can have 2 copies of Ura though, so you only put one in this one.
Again, it's going to cost me 2 cards. I could make the turret shoot again. But then I think we're going to have the same kind of thing going on where I'm just going to be heaping winded on you and kind of slowing you down.
Well, this time the bonus is you would have to trash so many cards to shoot that.
Yeah. It's basically the only thing that doesn't cost me a load of cards is...
And to be honest with you, at this point, I might be even tempted to take it on this guy because of Maddening Whispers. I could just shut a bunch of your stuff down, take the 6 wounds, and then just try and kill him. Or just kill your scout because, yeah.
Yeah, I think the scout's kind of in trouble regardless. Unfortunately, but I could use my assassinate for that, couldn't I? Okay, so it's kind of boring, but I think
old Sarginio returns to the battlefield.
Nah.
No. Oh, how many cards do you have in hand again?
I've got 3. Have you got Nightmare Strain?
Yeah, I have, because I read you what it is, dear. I know exactly what you're doing this turn. I want to take that away from you right now. Oh, that fixed that turn problem. I thought I had to think about stuff. I forgot about that card. Listen, at least you get to do a nice, clean plan in your next turn. Well, no, because I make you the scout so you could plan now. Which you have to, because you want to bring Sarge on.
Yeah, basically the way that works is
before you give the order,
if I had declared the order, then you could have declared it and maybe get rid of whatever card I had left to stop me from bringing
before
Sarge
you do
back.
the order,
But then I would get to execute the order. But because you did it before I've done anything, now my only option is to plan.
I think when your opponent goes through that, you want to be clear that you want to interrupt them. You're like, stop before you do anything. I'm going to play a Nightmare Strain.
Yeah.
But,
So I'm going to be getting these back. So
that's always open information that your opponent could do that. Like that's another bonus. That card has been so vital this game. Been very good.
Right, now I need to have a little bit of think about where I want to take stuff out. So I think you're going to go and try and kill the scout, probably. Like, I can't move. So I think, actually, this has to be
Yeah, I think it's,
This
but
sort
yeah,
of-
I mean, because I can't, I mean, oh, actually, no, saying that, right, no, before you do that, just to clarify, because I think it's clarity of rules, right, so right, that was your, have you got 2 turns left after this one?
No, I've got 1 turn left after this one.
Right, so the crazy thing is, I could almost leave the scout now, because you need to bring Sarge out as your next thing, and the scout isn't within 3. So actually, my big thing now is I need to kill that unit of guys. If I could drop them, then this is like, that's game over basically, because the scout can't move in because she's dead. Then she has to bring the Sarge out, and the Sarge might not be in range. And yeah, that's it. But can I do what feels like 1 billion points of damage? Also, now that I've made you discard your whole hand, you're going to draw back up again and you can retaliate. So I have put myself in a weirdly vulnerable position.
You've stopped. So basically, you've denied me the ability of taking a pot shot with my scout. That's what you've done. Yeah. I've lost the ability. I can't take the pot shot with my scout.
I think this is still good though, because it means that you're having to plan this turn when you could have just brought the Sarge out and then moved your scout in your next turn, and even though I could have shot it...
Either way around. I mean, what I was going to do was order the scout to shoot at the Voider, because the scout's SMG was out of range of my units, so even if you compelled...
I'd have to choose one of my own guys to be shot at. So the compellability does say I have to choose another valid target. If there's no valid target to shoot, do you shoot nothingness, or does it force it back?
You can force me
to shoot nothing or
fail. To shoot nothing, just fails. Yeah.
So, but that's still better than you caning a load of shots in your own guys, which is a big deal. So you can cause it to do nothing, which is still good, but it draws the compel out of hand. Okay, I think we have to go for... Right. These guys can't be the guys to do it. I don't... Or could they? Could you be my saviours now? It would cost me everything. But could they pull that unit apart? How many defense dice do your little boys get?
So the Marines, if they're being attacked, get 3 war die.
Get 3 war die. That's it. 3 war die.
Assuming I don't play a reaction or something on them. So, for example, if you make a ranged attack, they can drop prone for an additional 2. But
if I made a ranged attack with the Skitters, I'd be cheating at the game and literally making up the statistics. The Skitters only have a melee weapon. They have broadside. But with the Voider, though, that would be... I mean, the Voider could move and... I know it would maybe the last hurrah of the Voider, but that is a lot more consistent damage with... Okay, so technically it would be 1 less built in. No, but I could... Yeah, you know what we're doing? We're going for the Void now. We're going to do it. I don't care if it kills them. I don't care if the Void dies doing this. I'm going to try and kill that unit as I go out. Right, okay. So I'm going to do Impale on the Voider. I am going to discard... Cosmic Revelation, no, I'm going to discard the Skitter's Rush because I was winded, so I'm down 2 cards from my hand. The Voider gets to make... Would you like to play a reaction card? Would you like to stop me even before I play that card?
So, I'm not going to stop your move, I am going to play a reaction. I just
cool.
need to have a think about what that is.
Does it matter where... Well, you know where I was. I'm just literally going to bring myself like here, basically.
Okay, so... This is your last activation, right? So
yeah, because
I was the active player when it triggered. So it's been when it gets down to 1 for me. That's my last activation.
Yeah.
And that's going to be end of game. So the thing I really care about here is ideally I want my this Marine to survive, which is a problem. This is the problem with I wanted to get him in closer, but I kind of didn't have that opportunity with everything else that was going on. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard not that card. I'm going to discard this card to do I'll tell you what I should have done as well, but actually it probably doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I'm discarding that card
Okay.
to do
Oh, that.
to do just a basic retaliate, I think. Yeah, just do a basic retaliate with the scout.
Oh, the scouts retaliated. Okay.
Yeah, because the voider was issued an order whilst within 12 inches of the scout, so the scout can retaliate and shoot at the voider as it was zipping off. So I'm going to try and put my one SMG into your back. I will get the advantage if I'm on my offensive.
So I am going to discard a card. Look at us doing things in the order and the correct things for the people at home. I'm going to discard Relentless Claws to add an extra dice. So just so we go over the Voider's aggressive pool is 2 war, 2 elite, 1 tech. This is its basic, but we've enhanced this. So I have also played the card Impale, which adds a war dice, taking it to 3, and I've discarded a card, taking it to the 4 disappeared. So I am now at 4 war, 2 elite, 1 tech.
Okay, so for the Marines who are we'll resolve first here. Yeah, they are sat on 3 war die as their base because their defense is 1 war die each, and they all get to contribute. Because when you're defending, you always get a contribution of everybody. Now I need to figure out whether there's nothing that would have given me any other kind of bonuses or anything, so I will discard a card to take that to 4.
Okay. I can surge multiple times. Sorry. I am going to surge more.
Yeah, so
that's the whole plan.
Surge allows you to enhance up to 3 times rather
Cosmic
than
Revelation.
once.
I knew there was a reason I was doing this. I'm like doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm sure there's another reason why I chose this thing, and I'll get rid of a biomass. So sorry, I should have 2 more. Sorry, peeps at home. Okay, great. Okay, that's a lot better. 6-2. Now, for your, just so I can admit as well, in case you want to, you can't discard any more cards, but I was going to. I am going to get rid of 3.
Yeah, so you're going to go.
To up this to 3.
You've got 3 in.
Yeah. Would you like to turn one into an elite die?
What's your damage line?
2-6.
2-6?
2-3, 2-6. Oh my god. 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. Don't panic. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, people. Everything's fine.
Okay, yeah. So normal damage is 2s, crits are 3s.
I don't know if that was worth it. Was that a bad idea? That might have been a terrible idea.
Well, you got to think. I would have to trade 3 war die to get 1.
Yeah.
So
True. But it's only 1 extra damage, right? 3, 6.
It's 1 extra damage, but it denies me potentially.
Yeah. True.
2 dice if I care to do anything about it.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I like that idea. That might have been the dumbest thing I've ever done. I think the sheer weight.
You're on the attacker, so I'm going to wait for you to lock in your decision.
Yeah. Let me think. If I take that down to 2, that takes that back up to 6. And you've got 4 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you're going to have a separate one for her, don't you?
Yeah.
Whatever. She's going to walk. That's what her thing is going to be. You're going to make her move. I
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know what happened here. She's going to basically undo my huge effort to kill this massive unit when I could have probably just shot her with anything and been much safer. But I'm greedy and I couldn't help myself. I am going to stick with the 6-2-1. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the 6-2-1.
Okay, so you've got 6 war die, 2 elite die, 1 tech die. Now the question for me is, do I want to trade down to get the elite die? I think I won't. I think I'm going to stick with my 4 war die. So
smart.
For the Marines. I could do with computing whether or not you could wipe the unit out.
I don't think I can. Because 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. If you block like nothing, I'd do 18. But for each war you block, you reduce it. So right now you have 4. So you reduce it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means if I went 2 criticals, that would be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which would be 10. Which would still leave you with 1 wound left on a dude.
If I blocked...
If you block all of them,
Yeah.
and I went all crits, all hits,
I would have one dude left.
I would basically end up looking like, so I'd have 2 hits and I'd have 2 crits.
Yeah.
And my critical is 3 and my hit is 2. So that would be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which would be 10 damage, which would leave you on 1.
What I'm trying to work out is whether I try and be greedy and get their move trigger as well to move the surviving guy in range.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because I do get a guess. Well, he has to die first, then I could pick him.
No, you could, you... They have
I
to be within
could
range.
pick... Oh, wow.
You'll
Okay.
So you're gonna kill these guys, right?
Okay. That might be not a bad idea. That might be not a bad idea. Okay, I'm going to start putting some stuff on things and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But an inch of movement is going to be enough. And 2 inches of movement is going to mean they get wiped out, probably. Okay. Remember you got the SMG coming into the back of the Voyager after. It's not that you...
What with a 8-inch gun? I mean, you probably could have shot me when I was there, to be fair. But also, it's more like you're going to do a move.
Also, you don't even care if it doesn't affect your VP, right? If the Voyager dies at this point, so
No, I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm trying to work something out in my head. What's your reaction trigger that lets you do things?
My war trigger you're talking about for which is on the.
Oh, it's on hit, isn't it? Yeah. So you'd have to choose hits.
Yeah, I'd have to choose hits. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at what you've done. Oh, you went for an armor. Okay.
It was a calculation.
Okay. I actually did not go all into
You didn't
that.
go full out, yeah.
But I did. So 4 reduces that down to 2.
Yeah. Oh, but what's your unique? You're gonna delete
my
one.
Unique. I'm gonna take away. Sorry. So
my armor's gonna
becomes
go down to
3. Yeah. It doesn't care about. Oh, it actually does stay around because.
Yeah, you might care about that for the shot.
Can I just do a quick because I might want to. No, because my unique has to trigger now, before I can do her thing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage.
So just for clarity there, basically your unique trigger, Maddening Whispers, you had 1 symbol on that in the elite die, which you used to turn my 4 armor into 3 armor.
Correct, yeah.
You've got 3 hits, which I am blocking all 3 with my 3 armor.
Yeah.
And you've got a crit and a shield. The shield doesn't come into it, so it's the... you had 6 hits, 3 of which were blocked, leaving you with 3 hits and 1 critical hit, which ends up being... how much damage did you say that was?
So it's 2 damage for each one of my regular hits, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 3 for the critical, so that's 9 total.
That's 9. So, which one are you going to kill?
Well, I definitely. Can I do each point separately?
You can do each wound. You can allocate it. It's just.
I think we'll do 1 to him.
So 1 to him. So he's.
That leaves me with take 1 of him with 9. So that leaves me with 8 left. We'll do 5 and then 3. So we'll knock him out, which I believe is 5, correct?
Yeah.
And then we'll leave 3 on this guy here.
And then that guy takes 3. Yeah. Yeah. So the limitation is you have.
So that's them used.
Yeah.
Which means I do have 1 left in my defensive shield. So I do have 1 shield left.
Yes. So you had no armor or evade or anything.
No, I did not know.
But your Maddening Whisper stayed, but you couldn't trigger it again.
Mm-hmm.
If it mattered for some reason, for
counting
the symbols. So the thing I was going to point out there was when you're allocating wounds as the attacker, you can allocate them how you like, but you must allocate fully to ones that you had range and line of sight to before you can spill over to ones that you didn't.
Oh.
So if there was a guy who was beyond your tentacle range, you would have had to have killed those two to be able to do like any damage to.
Oh, okay,
that
cool.
guy.
Okay, that's perfect.
I
mean, he did have a range of 4. He has quite a lot.
Yeah. So he was.
He probably was already in.
Yeah. You were in range, so it wasn't a problem. But like,
both is good though. Both is good because I just want as many people obscured from reaching that point as possible. Over to you fire the little.
So, she's getting 2 white die, 2 war die with her SMG. I'm going to discard something. I'll discard this to get her a bonus one to take that up to 3. And for me, I think it just makes sense for me to put them in as 3 hits. There's kind of no reason to do anything else.
So I will take one of them away.
I'll take one of them away, which means I'll get 2 hits that come through. But burst will turn that. It's a burst 2 weapon with her SMG, so that's going to go back to 4.
Yep.
Which means she's just
4
doing
damage?
4 damage, which is nothing too exciting.
Oof. Yep.
But also I get to do my on the double as a 4-inch move.
Oh, bring her within range.
Which brings her over to here. And then over to me. You've got any interrupts you want to play?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I can reveal that I have the interrupt regenerate biomass in my hand, but I'm thinking of other things as well. I have Relentless Claws, the Voice Compel, Impale, and Cosmic Revelation left.
Okay, so it's at my activation, which is going to be the final activation of the game, and I'm going to do a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to reinforce, which was probably no surprise.
Yep.
Removing my Sarge card, Eyes on Target from the game. To bring back Sarge, we're going to drag. We've revived his body that the scouts have clearly been dragging around.
Yeah, it's a new inflatable Sarge. So, you'll never know. They don't ask questions of Marines anyway.
So I have to stay more than an inch away from this objective,
which is absolutely fine because you're still within 3.
But I'm still within 3 for the evac. I'm not too close to any of your guys, and I'm within range of the scout. So we've got the Sarge back.
Can I before? No, it's not. Sorry, when you played that order, is that an order to do that? No. Okay, carry on then.
So then I'm going to play Day in the Core,
which brings models back to life.
Yeah, play after this unit. So it's on the Marines. Play after this unit has lost a model. Return that model to this unit with 4 wounds allocated to it. Place within 2 inches of another model in the unit and at least 1 inch away from any objectives.
So you could place him.
Yeah, so I don't think I can get close enough, but I'm going to...
I think you are. I think you're going to be just... I think you're going to be in. I think you're going to be fine. Because 2, and then look, he's within 3. God damn, yeah. God damn. No! I'm trying to kill all of them. Stupid humans. I thought I was the horrible space plague. Who are the monsters? All of them.
Monster, yeah.
They don't have been better though. Out of all of that, if I just killed the scout. The moral of the story is kill the scout. It was the greed. Yeah.
Because I think now I end with 3 of my units in range.
Yeah, so there's the scoring, so that's the final activation. Evac player gains 1 VP for each unit within 3 of the new objective at end of game. Other player gets 1 VP for each surviving evac unit not within 3.
So...
does that count? No, not within 3. So I do gain 1 for that.
You do gain 1 for that.
Oh, how very helpful. But that means you're going to gain 3.
Yeah, which takes me to 5.
And I'm going to take me to 4. So it's 5-4. Oh,
good game.
Marines win. They escape this day with all relevant information.
Only by 1 VP. It's close.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I literally just killed the scout. And I would have... Actually, if I think about it, if I killed the scout, so that does count as a unit towards that.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. So what I should have done is
kill
the scout. No, if I killed the scout, then you would have only had 2 in. So I would have won because I would have had
actually,
2 out.
if you'd killed the scout... Oh, yeah, I still would have put the Sarge. Yeah,
you can still go Sarge through the Marines.
Yeah.
You could still Sarge the Marines. Because actually what you could have done is Day in the Core, and then you could have... even if I'd done... Oh, no, because I wouldn't have hurt them. So I could have killed them, which means logically the best thing to do would have been... just play the Sarge and then call it there. Oh, maybe you could have... No, because you only bring in one unit,
Yeah,
can't you?
okay,
So,
yeah.
the sensible thing to do would have just been to kill the Scout, which sort of stopped Sarge coming back, which then would have meant that you did... I mean, even if you did bring Sarge back, it would have only been 2, and then I would have had 2 units which weren't in range, which means I would have gone from 3 to 4 to 5, and you would have only gone to 4, and it would have been 4 or 5 the other way. But the thing is, there's so many options. There's so many possible, like I should have checked your hand more. There is always available information, but the whole point of this is not making perfect decisions, isn't it? And that's like the joy of it and the fun of it. You can't plan for everything.
Yeah. There's unexpected things happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, and we'll move on. Cheers, guys.
Thanks.